If your friends have ever made fun of you because you're waiting for a corporate earnings report, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back. Is it hump day or dump day? We're going to find out here today. SMCI just coming in right at the last minute. You want to talk about the 11th hour? It's supposed to be by the end of the day. End of the day is 5 p.m. Eastern time. That earnings report came out at 4:30. They waited till the last second, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to look at the SPY. No Tim Melvin today, unfortunately. He's got a doctor's appointment. We hope to have him back on Monday next week. Let's go ahead and start it up. Benzinga's pre-market playbook starts right now for Wednesday, February 26th. Hello and welcome, and of course, good morning to all of the early birds out there. Hope that you had a wonderful Tuesday evening, and I hope you're ready for today, because today is likely going to be the big day of the week with the NVIDIA earnings coming later today. But before we get to that, we've got a day where we've got to make some money ahead of that. I'm going to break down everything that's going on. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Svarcy Marcy, good morning. Federico, good morning. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Allsorts, good morning. Jane, Big Bees, Paul, good morning. Chuck, good morning. Couch Potato, good morning. Creation, good morning. Naveel, good morning. Drew, Yashin, and Day Trader, good morning and welcome back. Jim, Jonathan, JJ, good morning and welcome back. Kayla, Ann, Bernhard, Austin, Ivan, and VTS, welcome back. Let's go ahead and break down everything that's going on here today and try and figure. I actually want to ask you folks a lot. I want to get your opinion on a lot of different things here today. So good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Golden Brown. So we're going to run a couple of polls here today. We're going to do one on SMCI. We're going to do one on NVIDIA, but definitely want to get the opinion of the group here today on what we're likely to see out of some of these big events. Let's first start out by taking a look at the SPY here. Let me get my shared screen up. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so this is where we find ourselves. This is the scene that has been set so far. A couple of things to note on the chart. I have added a 5% and a 10% pullback level and then labeled them. These are obviously from the all-time highs. So if we do continue downward, one of the things that we're going to watch are those levels and to see how much have we actually pulled back. I actually retweeted a tweet from Kenny Polcari yesterday. He actually works on the Nice floor, big market maker, moves around large blocks of stock like it's his job. In fact, it is his job. One of the things that he was saying that I've heard from a lot of the really experienced people that have been market involved is that a 6% pullback from the all-time highs, not even really a correction. We look at what we did yesterday, like these 4 days in a row, we were down just under 4%, right? So if I look at the high here and I measure to yesterday's low, 3%. And I actually think the true number is like 3.8% if I get the points exactly right. But we were down not even 4% after this recent move down. And he considers 10% a correction level. So I wanted to put those here on the chart just to kind of give us some context of where we're at as we continue that move down. Now, if we take a look at the SPY, what ended up happening here is we actually pulled down to the 100-day. I'm going to use Anne Marie's parlance here. We did a peak below, right? We traded below that support level and then got bought right back up over it and then closed above it. However, we did still close short of the 50-day moving average. That value is 598.61. Now, one more thing here. If we look inside at the actual trading action here on the SPY, this actually felt a little bit different than some of the other days. Remember, we've come in here and we've noticed that sometimes we've had green arrows in the pre-market only to really kind of sell off during the day and then maybe even close red. And the inverse has also been true. We've come in here and the DeepSeek Monday really kind of stands out as a great example of that. The following tariff Monday after that, we came in, futures are down, and the market ends up closing higher. The low was actually put in the pre-market. Now, yesterday looked a little bit different, right? We were a little bit weak in the pre-market, and then we got bought back up, and things were starting to look good. And as soon as the market opened, the market just dumped, right? Just completely sold off. But unlike the previous day where we sold off, traded up, and then rolled back over and closed on the lows, we actually didn't do that yesterday. We rolled over, we bounced back, and then we kind of traded around here without breaking down and retesting some of those low levels. And remember, this is all happening right around a moving average that we've been watching for some time here, right around that 100-day. So now we find ourselves in the pre-market for probably the biggest day here of the week ahead of that report. This report, in my opinion, is going to pick a side. It's going to choose which direction we either break up or break down here. So really curious to see what you folks think. We're going to be doing an NVIDIA poll, I think, second here today, right after the open. So definitely looking forward to getting your votes in there. SPY, though, the TLDR, we're pretty much still in the sideways range. Yeah, we've moved up to the highs and we've come back in. The last couple of days have been not so hot, but we're still in that range. And we actually find ourselves right between two pretty key moving averages and right beneath this volume shelf. This is actually going back to December. I guess if I went back to October, because then we're still right below the volume point of control. So we're right there at the meaty part of that volume. So we'll see where we go here today. I'm excited. I don't have a position on yet for NVIDIA. Not sure if I'm going to trade that or maybe another stock in sympathy with that. But that's really what's going on here. I did want to share before we move on to SMCI, which I know is what people really want to talk about here today. At least I'm assuming. Okay, let's. Sorry, Jonathan, I was just reading your comment there about the audio. Producer, make note of that. I know that you fixed the Mark Petrino one, so maybe work your magic on this one too. That's good feedback, though, Jonathan. Really appreciate it. We'll keep trying to be 2% better every single day. That's for sure. So appreciate that. I did want to share one stat here from Ryan Dietrich, the article that we released this morning on the market overview here. U.S. stocks likely to open higher. I look around the pre-market here. S&P futures up 0.4, Dow futures up almost 0.2, and the NASDAQ up over 0.5% at 0.62%. So green arrows across the board after yesterday, where after we sold off, we really didn't re-break down. So it's kind of setting up like maybe we kind of bottomed. I asked yesterday in the happy hour, while we're on the subject, did we kind of bottom here in the near term? And it was 100% voted that, nope, we're probably going to keep rolling over. It did not feel like a bottom to those traders last night. Now, 100%, I know. Maybe you want to go with the contrarian bet. I'll leave that up to you. But anyway, that was the data that we got there. Okay. So the S&P futures, everything looks good, or everything looks green, excuse me. U.S. stocks likely to open higher ahead of NVIDIA earnings. S&P 500's 4-day fall was, quote, a non-event, end quote, says the expert. So again, what he means right there is in context. I know 4 days in a row when it feels like the market trades up every day, or it feels like we have 100% runners, or it feels like we have these really huge trades. For the market to trade down 4 days in a row, it's like it feels real crummy. But again, in context here, it's really not that much of an event. We really didn't break down. We're not even at the 5% pullback level, and we're certainly not in correction territory yet. So a lot to figure out here. We'll see how this ends up shaking out. I did want to share one Ryan Dietrich tweet here as we do. His stats are awesome. Dude is amazing, and he's got perhaps one of the greatest names that there is. We've been warning all month that late February tends to be weak, while February in a post-election year is the worst month on average. Well, just taking that first sentence right here, February, we're here at February 26th. We've got 2 more days left in the month. If this is the worst month of 2025, I think we can all take a breather. That would be pretty awesome, because although some of this has been painful, I've felt it too. Again, in context, is it really that bad? No, It really isn't. So we'll see how this shakes out, but these are some of the stats here. This 4-day losing streak isn't fun, but we can't say it wasn't expected. I will say that not only have we shared several Ryan Dietrich tweets and stats regarding seasonality, it's not only Ryan's seasonality that we've been sharing. We've also been talking about that in Happy Hour. We've had charts for seasonality. This period between mid-February towards the end of March is traditionally the worst with a very high percentage, and that's where we find ourselves. It so happens that a post-election year might actually make that a little bit worse. So regarding our question here of, what's NVIDIA going to do? How's it going to actually affect the market and all that? By the way, here is the seasonality that we were just talking about there for February. You can see it really starts at the 15th of February and moves down. This trend actually continues into March, as we were saying earlier. Okay, so where are we going to go next, right? We just talked about the SPY, maybe even breaking up or breaking down, waiting for this binary event. Don't forget that we're still seasonally in kind of a rough pattern. So would it really shock you if the market moved to a 5% pullback level by mid-March? Wouldn't really be shocking to me. Now, if it moved 10%, I don't know that I'd be shocked, but it would definitely feel a little bit worse. Anyway, we'll see where we go here today. We'll see if NVIDIA can play Superman, put on that cape, and put the entire market on its shoulders. It should be wild. Should be wild to see. So, okay. That was the Ryan Dietrich comment that I wanted to share with you guys. But next, let's talk about the big thing. Let's talk about SMCI. First of all, definitely, if you guys have any trades on, I want to know about that. Did you guys trade this? I think, I don't want to speak for him. I think 13 took a stab at this. I'll ask him when he gets on here. Don't quote me on that just yet, but let me know if you folks traded this at all. I know we talk about this quite a bit. I know that there's people that are seemingly on both sides of this trade here, bullish and bearish and the whole 9 yards. So let me know if you folks took this. I want to know what you're looking at here today. First, let me set the stage with where we're at. You can see here, obviously SMCI had that meteoric run up towards 120. It was more than that, stock split and all that. We have actually been in a downtrend since March of 2024. By the way, seasonality didn't really seem to affect this stock last year, did it? Nonetheless, we've been in a downtrend since March of last year, so this is almost a full year now. We recently had this pop when they said that they were going to fix their accounting issues. And we almost fell right back into that channel. In fact, we did fall back into the channel. The gap here today, plus 22%, takes us out of that channel. Now, okay, Ferris holding SMCI. ATL Russ, yes, I traded SMCI. Captain Obvious, you were trading NVIDIA on the SMCI print. Okay, so you guys took some stabs at it. You guys should be rewarded today if you were taking that on the long side. Jim here saying, remember, you don't have to trade every day. You can sometimes watch the show. Indeed, if you are unsure, don't make things worse. In any case, with SMCI here, we do kind of have a setup where maybe this thing can really rip, right? This was the biggest, let's call it negative catalyst or headwind that the stock was facing. Now that's out of the way. We're going to talk about that here in a sec. I got an article for you as well. But looking at where we're at on the chart, this actually sets up for a move higher. Now, also worth noting that the stock is heavily shorted. So part of me wonders if we get any type of run to cover here today on any of the folks holding the short. 91.66 million shares in the short now, are shares held short, excuse me. Remember, though, this print was from February 11th. So it is definitely possible that some shorts kind of covered into the last couple of days here as we were moving up. That's possible. We should get a new print here for the short interest pretty soon. But keep in mind, there was some pretty elevated short interest here. And now that we've got this good news, could that maybe kind of force a run to cover? Definitely a possibility. The other thing to note from this chart here is that this gap also helps us reclaim the 200. And we've seen on a number of these stocks, not just technology stocks, but other stocks as well, that the 200 has really provided one of those key levels. And a dip beneath and a recapture has often, unless it doesn't hold it and just breaks down, if it does hold it, it often leads to more of a run in that stock, multi-day run. So we'll see if we get that here in SMCI. Okay, let me see if I missed anything here. SMCI had a limit buy order at 50 in case it pops. I'm guessing that didn't get filled, Hans. I bought one option for SMCI at 2:40 p.m. yesterday when I noticed it reversed. Charles, that I believe you're referring to an upside call option there. You should be in good shape. And you'd be all right. Okay. And let's see. Nothing else on SMCI trades. Brandy, Russ, no. Okay, nothing else on SMCI trades yet. We'll see. This should be in play here today, and I would not be surprised if there was a lot of different day trades made on this. Let's take a look at the article and figure out what happened. Let's break it down like a fraction. SMCI stock pops over 26% in Wednesday's pre-market after Supermicro says it has regained compliance. That's the other part of it. We finally did file that late report, but they also regained compliance by filing that here. So they are able to avoid the delisting warning, which was obviously the worst case scenario. Supermicro submitted revised and audited financials for fiscal 2024 and the first half of fiscal 2025 to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. This move alleviates the immediate threat for the company being delisted from NASDAQ, a worry that had previously impacted SMCI stock price. That's obviously factoring into this pop and should make the stock more tradable. One of the things that we had asked our group here and many of our guests as well when we had talked about SMCI is, do you trust it? Would you consider holding this? And the answer invariably was no. Now, trading, obviously, that's a little bit different, and I would expect that. You folks have been really sharp and really active on this stock, so not really a surprise there. But continuing here, the company's auditor, BDO, those that know BDO, and apparently those at SMCI know BDO, verified that the financial statements accurately reflect the company's financial status as of June 30th, 2024. Now, you might say, well, that only goes up to June 30th, 2024. Yeah, but with all of the heat that was going on, I think it would be just gross negligence for them to have really made a mistake between June 30, 2024 and now. We'll see how that ends up shaking out here. But at least BDO is saying that they're compliant and the NASDAQ saying, okay, we're happy. Supermicro also announced it has reestablished compliance with the NASDAQ. Now, the submission follows Supermicro's loss of its previous auditor, Ernst & Young, which is a top auditor in the field. It's one of the best in breed when it comes to auditors. And that was also really kind of playing into this. If one of the really good, really reputable firms decides, you know what, we can't even do this, super negative. Looks like BDO was able to clean that up here due to governance issues. Excuse me. The company had until Tuesday to submit audited financials to the SEC. Supermicro also revealed significant weakness in its internal controls over financial reporting and implementing measures to rectify these issues. Now, will they be successful in rectifying these issues? Might there be another short report down the road or a delayed filing? God, I hope not. That would be really, really terrible for this. And I think you'd see even more of a pull than you did the first time. CEO and founder Charles Liang called yesterday's filing, quote, an important milestone, end quote. Yeah, I would imagine, right? Your stock's not getting punted off the exchange. That's important, duh. And stated that this company will now dedicate its full attention to its core business. What were you dedicating your attention to before? Just a rhetorical question. Nobody has to answer that. Liang also added that SMCI is poised to accomplish its important mission in DLC, which is Data Center Building Block Solution, Supermicro 4.0 they call it, while also meeting their revenue goals. SMCI announced a revenue goal of $40 billion for fiscal 2026. Goldman Sachs on Monday boosted the price target to 36 from 32 and kept a neutral rating on the stock. So there we go. They got BDO to pass them. They're not going to get delisted. Giddy up. We should be in good shape here, right? Well, what say you? What do you folks think of SMCI? What do you think of it long term? What do you think of it short term? Is this something that you feel comfortable holding overnight? Is this something that you're more likely to trade now because this big black eye effectively is now behind them? Let me know. That's really the $64,000 question here. All right, let me catch up here with you folks. Captain Cloudy, good morning. SYTA, that's a mover. We'll take a look at that when we get to the movers. BNZI is also a mover. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. Ferris, this week's SMCI target will be 72. Okay, so pretty good. That's almost 20 points from where we're at right now. Seems to me that you think that there is a lot more upside here in SMCI, and that's great. I also expect that there are still some people that do not trust it, which is also great. We want people on both sides. That's what makes a market. Good morning, Wiss. SMCI took a loan of 700 million. I am super long Nvidia, so there's that volatility. Okay, this is here, Big B's. This is going to be smoking. Long term, it can start its track and momentum. So that's really good, Big B's. One of the things that you've been talking about recently on some of your trades here has been the long-term approach or the leap approach that you've taken. Let me know, what do you see here in SMCI in terms of price targets, in terms of time frame for potential options? Are you looking to do that? And if so, would you be willing to share that with the group? So I will be looking at SMCI here today. I will say that at least as of right now, no chance that I'm really going to hold this thing and swing it, at least not yet. If I did that, I'd use options to define my risk ahead of time so that I'm not just holding a bunch of stock. But I am not opposed to day trading this here today. So I really want to see how this shakes out. Definitely going to wait for the pre-market to end and see what the regular session has in store for us. So I'm really excited. The other thing about this is that, man, they really waited till the end of the day. We knew that this was going to come at some point yesterday, or it was due by end of day at some point yesterday, 5 p.m. Eastern. The report came out at like 4:30 Eastern. We were all sitting on happy hour, and bang, the report dropped, and here we go. So really, really pushing it here and wait until the very end. Conditionally accepted. Good morning, my man. SMCI is tradable, not investable for me. Think of management like a clown show. I actually love that. I love that. I would say that I'm probably in the exact same camp as you, conditionally accepted. This is tradable. I don't think we're going to face an immediate delisting for any reason, but investable, I just don't know. I don't feel great about that, but really good stuff there. Really good stuff there. Here we go. Producers got it up. YouTube poll is up. Do you trust SMCI and its accounting issues? Yes, no, we're not sure. We'll make it real simple for you here today. Okay. Awesome stuff. We'll see how that all shakes out. Again, our reminder here is we have more of our regular folk filing in. No Tim Melvin today. Did have a appointment that he needed to get to. We're going to try to get him on Monday next week and Wednesday. So we're going to try to double dip next week with Tim Melvin. So if you do have either questions on particular stocks, or you're looking forward to some more long-term or dividend plays, don't worry. We got some goodies coming up here, and we're going to try to make sure that we get both sessions accounted for next week. SMCI, folks, let me know. Let me know what your trade plan is on this one here today. Now, NVIDIA, that's going to be the other big story. And while I do think NVIDIA is going to be busy today for the purpose of, short-term intraday day trading, the real fireworks show is going to happen after the hour. So we're going to get you all prepared for this earnings report here. This is probably the article that you really want to have the most. I'll go ahead and throw this here in the chat for you. This does a really good job outlining everything, and some of those different values can be just kind of a pretty good reference. Let's take a look here at the chart. NVIDIA actually finds itself in a pretty interesting spot. First of all, just kind of going with our channel here, basically using the parallel channel drawing tool to kind of visualize where we're at here. This thing has really kind of been in a downtrend since the beginning of January. And I know it's not really a whole lot. We're not really a huge percentage off the all-time highs. It's still really, really strong, and it is still a great company. I know it's not trading up 2% every day, but it is still obviously a really good company. Had this chop, had the sideways action right here at the top. Now it looks like we're in a little bit of a downtrend. So today really comes into focus. Are we going to reverse that trend? Are we going to pop back, or are we going to trade so well that we're actually going to resume the uptrend? Is this temporary down move going to be nothing more than a sneeze and a buying opportunity, frankly? A lot that we're going to figure out. The other thing that I really like here is NVIDIA came in and tested its 200-day. NVIDIA was down 2.8% yesterday, actually stopped right on the blue line there, which is going to be your 200-day moving average. Here, I'll make that a little bit easier for you folks to see, I think. starting to get a lot of lines and drawings on here. It might be a little bit difficult. Anyway, we came in here, stopped right on the 200-day. Now, today we are up 2.8% in the pre-market ahead of those earnings. The market's also up. Obviously, the NASDAQ is leading the way higher. And by the way, the NASDAQ now up 0.2 more than I first reported to you. So the NASDAQ obviously firming up and gaining some strength here in the pre-market ahead of that, ahead of the open. NVIDIA just over, and I mean just over, not quite even 40 whole cents, over that 20-day moving average. This would be a really good level to kind of recapture to show that maybe that short-term down move is over. Again, all of this is going to be impacted by what they say in the report. But some levels for you to watch here today. Definitely watch how it trades around this 130 area. The 20-day moving average, the exact value I have is 129.96. Let's just call it 130 for ease. How does the stock trade around that area? If it breaks down here, 126.50, it's actually 126.40, but right there about 126.5 is going to be a support level that we should be able to hold on to. And then above, we've got the 50-day at 134, and then we have some recent highs up here near 143. I want to see where this thing goes in the after hours. The other thing I want to see, do option buyers win this print or do option sellers win this print? This earnings season, there's been a lot of implied moves that did not quite pan out, right? The stock didn't actually move as much of the planned move. Steve here. I hope NVIDIA keeps climbing off SMCI's reporting. I want to get some cheap puts to gamble on earnings. Okay, Steve, I love that. You got a very specific plan here. You think NVIDIA is likely to trade down. I'm going to be very careful about what I say because it's totally possible that NVIDIA beats both the top and the bottom line and then still trades down. And so it looks like you're trying to take advantage of that. The more this trades up today, the better the deal you should be able to get on those puts. That's really sharp. That's exactly what we should be looking at. These are the types of things I wanted to hear from the chat today. Thank you, Steve, for sharing that. That's absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Okay, let's take a look here at the actual preview document or the news article, I suppose. NVIDIA stock is, quote, quite cheap ahead of the Q4 earnings. Analyst says the growth story is intact. So there you go. Really quickly, the TLDR, if you just want this, the estimated revenue, $38.05 billion, 84-cent EPS estimate, and the guide for the revenue is supposed to be about $37.5 billion, plus or minus 2%. Now, NVIDIA's beat 8 straight quarters. So is this the one where it really kind of turns around? Tough to see. All right, so that basically covers up this whole thing. There we go. What analysts are saying. Here we go. Reports of large CapEx spending by other technology companies should bode well for NVIDIA's results and guidance, says Hash Kumar from Piper Sandler. The analyst reiterated an overrate rating and a $175 price target. I think a lot of the bulls are probably in this exact camp. They're looking for a price up there near $200. The analyst said the demand for Blackwell is strong and should lead to a beat and raise quarter for NVIDIA. Okay, a couple of things here. We actually talked about this with Matt Maley earlier this week. What happens if it doesn't beat? Or what happens if they, God forbid, and I don't anticipate this to happen, I'm just throwing out different situations for us to be prepared for. What happens if there's a little bit of a delay with some of these Blackwell chips? 13 was also talking recently about how the new series of consumer graphics cards are built off of the Blackwell architecture, and some of those are holding heat issues. On top of that, some of those don't show the big step up in performance to warrant buying a $1,000 to $2,000 graphics card for your computer. So it's really gonna be interesting to see how this all plays out and how all the cards fall. I'll be honest. If I had to make a bet right now, I think NVIDIA does beat on both the top and the bottom line, and I do think they guide higher, although just kind of marginally higher. Ultimately, what that means for the stock, I still think it could sell off. I still think that we're at some elevated levels here. The market kind of seems, or the investors kind of seem a little shaky. Obviously, we've talked a lot about some of the macro concerns as well as the tariff issues, the whole 9 yards. So we'll see how this shakes out. Again, I'm really excited. Quote, we continue to believe that NVIDIA is sold out for CY 2025, and we see increasing cadence of beats of magnitude as the year progresses. So Captain Obvious here just going off about how great this company is and how they're going to be great for a long time. And basically, the analyst is saying the same thing. Analyst here is saying the exact same thing. Kumar said reports from Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, and Amazon show that demand for NVIDIA's products is large and could lead to increased guidance from the company. So here you go, where it was saying that the other reports here that have come out are actually a net positive for NVIDIA, and that should lead to a positive report and a higher price. Truist analyst William Stein said NVIDIA is the AI leader. I don't think anyone disputes that, at least not right now. NVIDIA is the AI leader, and the stock excuse me. NVIDIA is the AI leader and the stock in that sector to own. Easy for me to say. The analyst maintained a buy rating and slapped that $200 price target on NVIDIA. Okay. With NVIDIA stock trading at 23x calendar year 2026 earnings per share, the analyst said NVIDIA's stock is quite cheap. Now, remember, we've talked about traditional semiconductor multiples being much lower than they are currently. This guy's using a different one, 23x calendar sales, and he's saying it's cheap. Pick your poison. Pick whichever one you think. Now, the one thing I will say is that if AI really does proliferate and the demand for these chips and this, that, and the other thing, yeah, maybe it will be cheap as we expect a higher move off that. We expect a solid quarter outlook and commentary. And I'm glad that he said that, because the thing that I want to know the most are going to be some of those questions. Do we get questions about DeepSeek? Do we get questions about pulling back data center funding and CapEx spending? What do we get? The analysts, what do we get from them? And furthermore, do we get analysts that are just giving softball questions, or do we actually get some there that uncover something for us? Do they ask any of those deeper questions? The analyst said DeepSeek marks a strong evolutionary upgrade in the AI space. Sam Altman has said things similar to this, so he's not coming out of right field with this, but comes in a space where NVIDIA continues to improve AI performance and will continue to do so. NVIDIA could have several headwinds from the DeepSeek emergence, including further export controls, a different financing environment for AI spenders, and investor sentiment of the company turning negative. Quote, we have seen several reasons to believe that large cluster builds will continue, mostly because the architects of those clusters are insisting so loudly every day, the cynicism is overwhelming. All right, now there's more quotes in here and comments. Jay Woods said that there are likely to be some investors that'll be watching for NVIDIA's quarterly results. Yeah, I think some investors will be watching for that. Woods said the Blackwell chip DeepSeek questions and guidance are at the top of the list of the items to watch. Jay Woods, you're my guy. That's what's at the top of my list to watch here too. So that's NVIDIA. That's the preview. Use that article. You'll have all of those estimates right there for you. And let's see how this baby trades here today. Let's see what we're doing tomorrow. Let's see what the market looks like tomorrow after this big binary event is out of the way. I am so excited. I cannot wait. Pete here saying, I'm playing Dell. It's more boring, but these chips have to go into a chassis. Low PE, 13 times forward earnings. This is the exact type of stuff that I want to hear from you guys. I love insight and comments like this. If you're looking at something and you're saying, boy, I can really kind of orchestrate a trade in a different way, I want to call it unconventional. It's really not unconventional. I actually think it's really smart. I love this. I love this idea, Pete, and I'm glad that you're sharing this with us. You're not the only one that thinks that, by the way. We actually, and on Dell, didn't we recently have, yeah, we did. We recently had a huge pop in Dell as they were going to do more AI stuff. I can't remember what the exact headline was on that, but that should also bode well. That pop, I think that was right in here, right? Friday, February 14th. Yeah, so now we've completely round-tripped that move. So you see here, Friday, we were at 110. This is exactly what it is. We were about at 110. This thing moved from 110 all the way up to, I think, like 116, 117. Damn. I actually did scalp this that day because Charlie was so awesome on his call. It was so early on that call. It was easy. You basically just hit buy and then hit sell a few seconds later, and there was more money in your account. It was crazy. how good that squawk was. Shout out Charlie and the Benzinga Pro team. But since then, we've actually completely retraced that, and we've actually found some support here at the 20-day. Let me go back there and actually read that to you so I don't screw that one up. Here you go. Dell nears deal to sell $5 billion in AI servers to Musk's AI. So, Pete, these chips have to go somewhere, right? They have to go into a chassis somewhere. Well, here we go. Just last Friday, we got news that they're going to sell $5 billion worth of AI servers, Tesla AI. So, and here you go. So this is awesome. You're on top of this here. You're saying it's still not technically confirmed, but this did pop the stock, something else to watch for. And some of the questions that we get in the NVIDIA session might kind of leave some breadcrumbs for us to figure out whether this is legit or was this just a headline that kind of popped Dell. Nonetheless, I love your idea, and I better still that you actually shared it here with the group ahead of time. Really appreciate that stuff. Okay. Let's see. I know I'm here alone, and I know we don't have a guest here. We should have 13 pretty soon, but I really did. I was like literally yesterday, I was like, I cannot wait to get on the show tomorrow and hear from everybody what they think, how they're going to trade, what they're looking for. And here we are. It almost feels like Christmas morning. Big B's saying that's a very smart play. I agree with Big B's there. Robert, SMCI is my largest position. Let's see what happens at the open. Well, I'll tell you what, you should be positive on that trade, Robert. So way to go. And a huge shout out to you, Robert, because you've been all over a wide variety of some of these technology stocks for quite a while, and you've done quite well with them. I appreciate you sharing that here, just like I was talking about with Pete there. Geo also reports tomorrow. Good idea. This is an interesting question. Palantir calls soon. Hoods, I'm not going to go into that right now, but you know what? I like your thought process there, right? It's really gotten shellacked. Could we get a bounce here? Let me add Palantir to the list and then also put another note in here that you were asking about calls just to make sure that we cover that. We will be doing that here pretty soon. Tom saying NVIDIA owns 8% in Applied Digital. That's APD. What's the, help me out with that? APDN, right? Nope, that's Applied DNA. APADPI. Help me out with the ticker, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about. APLD. Applied Digital, APLD. I got it there. So this is actually another good point. If NVIDIA reports, what does that mean for some of these other stocks that are connected to it? Here's another example. I'll get back here, but I just want to put this on the radar too. Remember SoundHound? Remember how this thing moved from $3-4 up to 24 plus on the back of the NVIDIA partnership and all of that? Now we're obviously on the backside of the move, and we're less than $1 away from the 200-day. In fact, it looks like we actually dipped down closer to that 200-day yesterday. Do stocks like these respond if NVIDIA has a positive report or if NVIDIA trades up? So very similar to your question here, Tom. What do some of these other stocks do with the NVIDIA move here? NVIDIA owns 8% in Applied Digital. Do you think it will move as NVIDIA moves? My knee-jerk reaction answer, Tom, yes. I suspect that this is going to be such a anticipated and watched event that anything connected to this event is likely to show some type of movement. Now, you're asking for things that have direct correlation here with NVIDIA. I think those will move. I can't tell you how much. I mean, I don't know if Applied Digital is going to go up and how much it's going to go up, but I do expect a lot of those stocks to kind of reprice or be volatile as we see this here, or as we see that report come out. Izzy, we're going to, you know what, we're going to talk about this too, because Ryan bought the huge dip on Amazon when it was down 6. I think buy dips may be back. We're going to get, Izzy, we're going to get to this. I want to finish off with NVIDIA here. I think you might be onto something. And by the way, one of the traders that I've followed since I got into this business, who I consider a mentor, unbelievable buy on Amazon. I actually followed him in just a little bit and took gains off really early, really early, frankly. He ended up getting 100% on some of those calls. But there's a larger point here that I do want to discuss. And I was kind of hinting at that already when we were looking at SPY, and we were looking at how the action yesterday was really kind of different from several days prior. So we'll see how that shakes out. I think you're onto something here that requires a bigger discussion, Izzy, but really good stuff. Keep Smiling said, yeah, that squawk was crazy. Made a really nice trade off that. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. You know, I'm also in another trading group, and they have kind of like a voice chat thing. And man, they were hooting and hollering. It was like, sometimes with some of these plays, especially the fast moving plays, it's kind of bittersweet because you can make some pretty good money on it, but it happens so fast that someone that is maybe not as experienced or not ready or simply not as fast ends up getting hurt by it. You kind of feel crummy about that. That was not the case with the Dell trade. I feel like every person made money. I'm sure that's not the case because someone probably held that. And as you see, we round tripped here, but man, oh man, what a good trade that was there. Thank you guys for getting me the ticker there. The delay was just long enough for me to figure it out on my own. And Ryan says, loves that you're still using the shelves. Lo, this is something that Nick Shaheen, actually, let's shout out Nick Shaheen here for a sec. Nick Shaheen was the person that got me looking into volume shelves here, the volume profile. And so if any of you really like this, Nick is an exceptional options trader. Okay, an exceptional options trader. He's got a really awesome service with us here. And if you're interested in that, I encourage you to check him out. If you need help, reach out to me. I will connect you with somebody and I will try to find you the best possible price. But nonetheless, I learned it from him, and ever since more of you have been bringing it up, I also follow a number of FinTwit users that use this. Shout out Jake Wojastik, formerly of TrendSpider. He does great charting, and often uses anchored VWAP and volume profiles here in volume shelves. So I'm going to keep it on there. We're going to keep looking at it, and we'll keep trying to add to our pool here, Ryan, so that we can just be better every day, frankly. Okay, what happened here? There we go. APLD call. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through here. Palantir, we're going to look at Palantir. Don't worry. Matthew, good morning. First day in a week, my holdings didn't tank at the market open. Yay for tech stocks. You know, if the buy the dip is back, and we did maybe kind of put in a near-term bottom, and then you get the NVIDIA blessing here today, Matthew, you could be in real good shape. So it's never over till it's over. You versus you, warning you guys on APLD regarding dilution. Something else to keep there. Again, APLD, not something that I have a really close following on, but really good stuff there. Appreciate you sharing that here with the group. Okay, Sound has earnings after market tomorrow. Indeed, they do. That should be fun, Russ. And you know what else? We actually might be able to get some more information about that earnings print when we see what happens here today, right? Like we might be able to if the demand is just really, really crazy, well, I guess you could make the argument that SoundHound will probably have some pretty good stuff to say around that. I mean, if I were the CEO, that's what I would do. If that was the case, but that's something else to keep in mind. Something else. Okay. Okay, and that should do it here for NVIDIA. Okay, so we'll see where we go here today. Gosh, I can't wait. We do have a whole regular session to do first. Before we do that, let's just check in on a couple of more things here. I did want to take a look at Tesla. Of course, we will get to the movers. We'll get to Amazon. We'll get to Palantir. We have plenty of time before the bell to get to all of this stuff. Here is Tesla. You can see the sell-off resumes. I got the next support level here at 283, currently at 307. Obviously, something could happen there at the round 300 number. It did lose its $1 trillion valuation. The question, of course, that is floating around here with everything is, is it Elon's fault? People are very, very emotional about the administration, Elon's role in it, and everything that's going on right now. And I think it's very, very clear that is affecting Tesla's price, at least in the near term. The big question that I have here is, does this represent a buying opportunity, or does this represent a shift in sentiment on Tesla that is likely to affect it for months going forward? Not sure necessarily how long it's going to take for this to kind of play out here, but I'm definitely watching this here. I would like this stock to really kind of keep correcting with the rest of the market. If we do get that, we're actually not far away from the 200-day either. We talked about the gap fill that fills down here at what, 250. That seems to be a reasonable price for Tesla. And obviously you can see we're still kind of in the downtrend. So I want to see how this shakes out here. I know Tesla is a favorite here. We did lose the $1 trillion valuation, but I'm here to tell you, I don't think that this story is over. I don't think that this story is over by any means. Good morning, Ryan. Everyone is just got Benzinga. Please tell me about day trade chat yesterday. Rustam, dude, I'm sorry, man. I have no idea what you're asking. You can try and reformulate that, and I'll do my best to answer, but I just don't know what you're asking about. Okay. All right. What else do we want to go? Oh, Reddit. That was the other one here. I know we had asked Derek yesterday from T3 about Reddit. He had some really good stuff in there. And I actually saw there's a number of folks on Twitter that are asking, hey, is this a buyable dip here on Reddit? So I would formulate the same question here to you. Stock did plunge. Let's see how I know the article says it plunged 26% from its highs. Yeah, it was actually more than that. Yep, it was actually more than that. It was about 30+% at the lows from those highs. However, it looks like call option buying was surging here. So we talk a little bit about unusual option trades in some cases. Here's another one. We actually did write an article on this. Reddit stock has been in a free fall, shedding 26%, a little bit more than that, since hitting its 52-week high of 230.41 on February 10th. Well, I tell you, if you liked it at 230.41, you should like it right here, right? Right here at 160. I mean, wow, huge changes here. The sell-off sparked by a post-earnings user growth miss and CEO Steve Huffman's hefty $70.5 million share sale has rattled investors. So I ask you, is this overreacting? Is the Reddit dip buyable, or should we wait for some more attractive levels on Reddit? What do you guys think of that? I enjoyed the discussion with Derek yesterday because he's someone that's in my position. Like, I don't use Reddit. I have it because I've looked something up before and somehow the app got downloaded on my phone. I'm sure I did it. I just don't recall doing it because I didn't have a purpose to do it. And I get notifications on these things all the time, and a lot of it's junk. But you folks, not just you folks, but folks really in the trading community, you guys always seem to pull out gems from Reddit. The GME, let's call it fiasco, if you will. All of the cryptic memes from Roaring Kitty, GME, and all of that has a Reddit presence. So it's clearly embedded here, and so I understand. And look, our show motto here is that you can be wrong, but you can't stay wrong. Well, I was wrong on Reddit. Thought that was going to go down. Thought that was going to print the teens. We went the opposite way. So now we're going to have to readjust. Where's the buy spot on Reddit? Where is the buy spot on Reddit? That's kind of what we're trying to figure out. And I'd be curious if any of you guys have trades or opinions on Reddit. I want to hear about that. Okay. Let's bring on 13 and let's 13. I know here, I'm just going to bring him on. We're going to bring it. We call that a cold opener in the biz here. 13 just didn't even wait for you to be ready.
God, so
I know that you often use some of this time to prepare. But unfortunately, we don't have that time here today. Tim Melvin had an appointment, was not able to join us here today. So we're just going to roll into what the chat looks like. If you need some time to read through something because I just cut your time short, just let me know and I'd be happy to do that.
We'll do it live.
Sure Evan, we'll do it live. That's what I was hoping you were going to say. Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Trying to, actually, I shouldn't say I'm trying to stay warm. It's actually been getting warmer here ever since we had that Arctic blast last week. Got down to the 20s. I'm sure that's no big deal for you, but it's much colder for us. But now it's starting to get warmer, so things are starting to turn around here. Looking forward to the spring.
Yeah, you know what? I'm also looking forward to the spring at this point. I mean, the calendar is about to flip over to March here. I'm staring at a golf course that has the snow melting at an exponential rate. I'm ready to get out there. So I'm with you there. And you know what, 13, the last 2 days here in Chicago have been, Chicagoans will often refer to this as the fake spring because we often get some of these really nice days in February only to get blasted by a polar vortex shortly after that nobody sees coming. So we'll see if we end up getting that here. But I've been enjoying the warm weather as well. The birds outside have been enjoying the warm weather as well, which means my bird inside has been enjoying that. So happiness all around for that. I'm with you there. What stocks do you want to take a look at here today? Do you want to talk about SMCI at all? I obviously led with that. We also talked a little bit about NVIDIA, but it's up to you. We got some suggestions from the chat. We've got some movers here, and we've got whatever's on your list.
I can touch on SMCI real quick. I mean, the big event we were waiting for yesterday was to see whether or not they were going to, provide their 10Ks and their quarterly reports for the past 2 or 3 times, two quarters. They finally did. And you know what's interesting, because you just had Reddit up there. I was looking around on there, seeing what people were saying about SMCI, and there was one particular poster that was mentioning that they thought it would post those reports, in the last half hour of our happy hour meeting, and sure enough, that's where I got that figure from, and that's when they ended up reporting it right in the middle of our meeting. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Some folks on Reddit do seem to have it pretty well connected to the market. But anyway, back to SMCI. Great that they reported their missing reports. I haven't been able to go over all of them and see if everything makes sense, or see other opinions on what other people are thinking about SMCI. But it seems like there is a bit of material weakness in their finance reporting still. So I still don't feel great about SMCI. I mean, if you're looking to do like a data center builder, there's of course you could do Dell or Hewlett Packard. They're still reporting their quarterly reports on time. So I would be looking, if that's the play you want, that would be the one I'd be going towards them. But if you want something that's a little bit more volatile, that carries a little bit more risk but could also be more rewarding, that would be SMCI. Personally, still not something I'd buy and hold for the long term, but because I want to make sure that these accounting issues finally get smoothed over. Just the fact that they reported things that were missing doesn't completely absolve them from anything, in my opinion. I think they need to show, they need to continue regaining that trust from investors, and I don't think they've done that just by filing these reports.
Yeah. Okay. Really good breakdown there. I'm with you there. That actually dovetails really nicely with the poll that we have set up here for today as well. So, I think that it's safe to assume that your vote would be no. You still do not trust SMCI based on that. I do have to ask, though, I had mentioned earlier, and I did not want to speak on your behalf without you being here. Did you play this for that binary event that we were expecting yesterday?
I took a handful of lottery tickets.
Hey. My guy,
just some way out of the money calls. Totally expected it to go to zero. I just was thought,
cheapies,
maybe they do
right. You basically just took a lotto stab on some cheapies. Awesome.
Yeah, maybe they. I was like, maybe they do report. Maybe we do see some big move tomorrow, and maybe I'll just throw $100 at it. And sure enough, they did. So I'll just jump out of those as soon as the bell opens and call it good, and then this can do whatever it wants.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see what those do. I am expecting, I don't know what the let me take a look here and see if I can figure it out. Not sure what the implied volatility in some of those contracts. 400%, 440+% for the weeklies that expire tomorrow. On Friday. Not sure what expiry you got, but they're likely to see some premium suck come in when the market opens here. We'll see, though. Sure. Really good trade. Hope that one is a big winner for you.
You're right, Robert. They did XIII did use SMCI, but that's not the only one they use. They also use Dell. They're not exclusive to the XIII build out.
Okay. Sweet. All right. What stocks do you want to take a look at here, 13? It looks like we've got a number. I'm actually going to add some of these here from the list. I'll go ahead and do that, but I haven't done any movers yet. There were some people that were saying F the news. I just want to talk about movers early on. So I'm sure there's a appetite for that. But what do you want to take a look at? What stocks do you want to take a look at here today?
Well, I really went down the rabbit hole trying to figure out what this was all about with ENVB, and the news really all it is just a patent. That's all this we're moving on here. So we could start with the movers, but
let's do that because ENVB is actually at the top of the movers list. So one sec here, real quick. I definitely want to address this one here. Captain Obvious says, I thought I heard Ryan say he does sports radio color commentary. No, Ryan doesn't do that. Ryan's been told at like 7 of my jobs over the course of my life how good my voice is for radio. I don't know if they're saying that I'm ugly or if I have a good voice or both. Don't know, but nonetheless, I've heard that quite a bit here. I'll say this. I love where I work right now. I love the job that I have, and I love the role that I'm in. Big time shout out for this company for really kind of allowing me to explore my own path and do what I'm good at. And I love it. But I'll tell you this, man. If I got an offer to be a color commentary for one of my beloved sports teams, that might be one of the handful of jobs out there that exist anywhere that I would actually consider leaving for. That would be something else. That would be a dream come true. My late father would be unbelievably proud and happy to see that. So I think about that sometimes, but no pending offers. So don't worry, folks. We're going to be here to break down stocks instead. Okay. Sorry. Really wanted to comment on that because that's been something I've been dealing with really since I was like 18 years old. Nonetheless, let's talk about ENVB here, Enveric Biosciences, just to kind of catch you up. I know that you were given a little bit of a breakdown there, but just to kind of catch you up here. Enveric Biosciences shares are trading higher after the company announced a non-hallucinogenic. Where's the fun in that? JK, non-hallucinogenic psychedelic compounds showed promise for treating addiction in ADHD. Now, the stock here is up 167%, almost 168%. Stock was $1.22 yesterday. Quick look around the horn, short interest, almost 12.5% of the float shorted, but only 1 day to cover because the stock is fairly liquid. On average, it trades 325,000 shares per day, but today we're almost at 50 million and it's got a float of 1.9 million. So what did your deep dive kind of uncover here?
I don't know that I call it a deep dive. I was trying to deep dive into it, but
that's right. Then I brought you on. That's right. I screwed it up. Got it.
That's okay. Knock it off. So what? No, I was just trying to find out more about this particular compound that they're talking about that's treating addiction and ADHD, and so I want to see how far along they were in the trial and all that. But one of the first things I started learning is this is only being talked about because of the issuance of a new patent. So really, what the move here is on is not so much that they're pushing this drug. That's supposed to have these amazing qualities for treating addiction and ADHD, but that it's, that they got the patent for it. So I think that's what this is moving on. It's a patent. Now, that's great, but, I was hoping for something a little bit more in terms of, progress through clinical trials. The company has 1.9 million shares. It looks like they needed cash, but they did just raise $5 million through an offering this month. And I think I also saw that Jonathan was mentioning that they had a warrants at $3. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, if that's the specific one you're talking about here. But they also had a little bit of a high short interest. And we say high in quotes because it's just 12.25%. But they did do a reverse split on the 22nd of January. So kind of going through all the motions of trying to stay compliant with NASDAQ. And I feel like with this one, I have concerns. Of course, they're still burning cash. This is not the first time we've traded this one this month, and it was for a different reason that we traded this one earlier too. Okay, I think Jonathan, I see what you're talking about. The spot secondary priced at $3. Yeah. Okay. So.
Right here.
This could have some pretty good movement today, but let me look at the technicals here because I'm just trying to highlight that this is not as I don't feel like this news is as special as some of the news that they had coming out earlier that we were trading on. This is just news on a patent is what I'm getting at. So may not get all the upside we're looking for or hoping for today, especially as those warrants were mentioned by Jonathan. So
okay, so real good breakdown there. While you come up with some levels, let me add to that a couple of things. I want to clean up a couple of things here. Michael, by the way, good morning, Michael. Great to have you here. Geez, I thought you were going to say you're leaving. Nope. Michael then goes on to say, Ryan, glad you don't have your dream job. Sorry, there is nothing to be sorry about. It's actually possible to have multiple dream jobs, and this is definitely one of them, or at least I consider myself lucky. So don't worry. No worries at all there. Izzy, great suggestion. And folks, keep the suggestions coming. We actually do have some plans here for 2025 to kind of make the stream look better and kind of change some of the stuff around. So love ideas like this. Keep them coming. We'll definitely try and incorporate them. Now, here's the other thing. So Ryan Milligan, we got getting back to ENVB here. We got two things here. So to discuss here. So Ryan Milligan saying one drug for addiction and ADHD. Now, here's one of the things that I think is interesting. You did a really good job outlining what we can expect here in the short terms, some headwinds, possible tailwinds, et cetera, et cetera. But I think long term, we have something else here that we really haven't discussed. Sydney, you were also kind of commenting. Did I move past that? Sydney, you had said, is RFK on board? Question mark. I don't know the answer to that, but getting back to what Ryan was saying here, one drug for addiction and ADHD, there actually is a treatment for this already, and it's not a drug. I mean, people use Ibogaine, which is not legal here in this country, to treat both of these things in one treatment or with one treatment. Sometimes you have to go back several times. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I'm curious to see how some of this stuff changes over the course of RFK being in the position that he's in. I don't know what the answer is to this, but we're talking about, potential trends here and what this could mean. And I'll be honest, for some of these things, like for this, there's actually other treatments or therapeutics that exist for this. And if those become more mainstream and become straight up just not illegal anymore in this country, that might actually have an impact. Now, all of that is way, way down the road. So just to be very, very clear here, we've got a situation on our hands that is not really going to be affected by this. However, if you do kind of take a long-term approach here, it would be wise to not forget about that, as some things are likely going to change in the near future. And I'm just not sure how that's going to change. So just wanted to throw that out there, get that on the board. This is definitely something that we're going to watch. I think a lot of whatever changes happen, I think there's going to provide a lot of different trading setups and trading opportunities for us. This is definitely not a negative, but it's just something to kind of keep on the back burner there. Now, did you have anything that you wanted, or did you have any levels you wanted me to highlight here?
Well, you versus you pointed it out as you were speaking there. There's a gap to fill that we're kind of, we were trading in the middle of it. I think we still might be a little bit in the middle of it. Yeah, we are. So that gap's going to be from, what is this high? 240, and it fills at 390. And right in that 390 area, you also have the 50-day SMA. So that's probably going to be where I'd be looking at maybe a high for this one today. I don't know that it's going to get beyond that, but I think there comes an added risk trying to trade this beyond that. But if it continues to move up and it shows no signs of abating, then we'll continue to try and trade it. But there is a lot of consolidation to try and get through once it gets up into once it fills that gap. That makes me think that it might have a harder time trading higher than the gap fill. So for levels to the upside, obviously we want to see the pre-market high get taken out. That was 356. Yep. It looks to me like 355 might have been the big resistance level, seeing that we've had multiple revisits up there. Mm-hmm. So call it 355, 356. After that, we'll have that 390 gap fill, and beyond that, there's a level at 440 that looks interesting. 440 to 445. That's if we go beyond the gap fill, and we can identify some other levels later if it continues to move up. But for now, I think the gap fill is what I'd be watching for.
Okay. Yeah, good stuff there on the gap fill, and just kind of carrying that forward. Shout out you versus you. You're absolutely right on that. Also, the bottom of that gap which we pierced into here today, is 240. So I know with some of these, we actually these actually come back in. It's sometimes in the morning they look just absolutely horrific, like they're just going to completely give everything back. Then they firm up at a lower level and provide a setup later on in the day. One of those here to watch is going to be this 240 level, which is the bottom end of that gap that we've traded into there. So, okay, really good stuff. NBIS, yes, let me add that to the list. We'll take a look at that one. Also, that was also a good trade.
Why not look at that one now? We could do that now.
Oh, well, I thought we were going to do the movers list here first,
sure,
but
sure,
I mean, let's roll down the movers list. I got Palantir, Amazon, Kava, Cell H, Nike, TTD, NBIS. We're going to have plenty of stocks to look through. We probably won't even get through all of them prior to the open. Let's see here. The next one, at least on the movers list, and if these are kind of crummy, we can always just kind of go over there sooner. But the next one here on the movers list, ticker SYTA. A number of you were actually already talking about this one here today. It looks like we had news. Did this news come out while we were talking? Indeed, it did. SYTA, this news kind of fresh here. XIII Mobile shares trading higher after the company announced it will acquire Core Gaming. So this is the acquiring company here. Got a nice little formation, nice little flagpole here, and a nice little flag on this 1 minute chart. We'll see if we're able to break higher. Top end of that flagpole, $9. Current VWAP here, 746, and the low of that regression move, 653. So we'll see if we can hold that area here. Quick look around the horn on SYTA. This is definitely one that we've traded before, so we should at least be somewhat familiar with it. But as a reminder here, 4.6% of the float shorted with only 1 day to cover. So nothing crazy there, squeezy. But the float is really what's got people interested here. Micro float stock under 1 million shares, 937,000 shares in the float. On average, the stock trades just shy of 300K, but today we're trading over 11 million already. So 13, what do you think here? SYTA, you think we got another one here?
I like the way the chart looks on this one better than ENVB.
Okay,
this one looks like it's got a better setup. What we want to see, let me just zoom in here. We want to see is we don't want to see this start to lose I would say the 650 area. If we start losing that, then this is going to probably end up coming lower. I would want to wait a little bit closer to the time that we open with this one, because the MACD is starting to indicate that this is trying to roll over, and we are struggling to hold on to VWAP. So there is a chance that this might go down, and I want to wait for a little bit more confirmation, a little bit, maybe wait until we're a little bit closer to the open, so I can see how it's trading before I decided to take a position, and if I'm going to trade this at all. The company itself, kind of wondering where they're going to get the money for all this. I haven't seen any kind of offering that they've done recently. Looks like
they cash flow negative.
Yeah, so it looks like the last time that they did any kind of offering was in August last year, and then they did a reverse. Well, they also did a reverse split before that, and then they did another reverse split in December. So I feel like they may throw a capital raise out there at some point pretty soon, and I think that's why I'd be a little bit more cautious with this one. Like you said, I think you mentioned that the float 937,000 shares. Very, very easy to move this around. I think this comes with a little added risk on that the mention of the cash position. So I think that's the position I'm going to take on this. Just be careful with this until we get closer to the open and see how it trades, because I'd want to see if this can even hold up here. I just have a little bit of a concern about this one going into the open.
Okay. Good stuff there on SYTA, XIII Mobile. Okay, chat is popping here. One of the favorite stocks. Oh, dude, yes. Wait a second. I got something else to share, but it's not market related, so I'll wait here a little bit.
All right.
Oh, that totally distracted me. I'm sorry. Okay, chat is popping here with another one. I can't believe it. Where's Jay Rice? We need Jay Rice to be back in here. Mullen is popping on news. Let's see. Where was that comment? Real quick. Ryan's going to be hyped when he sees the Mullen news. Well, here it is. Big pop here on Mullen. We've already retraced a little bit what's going on with this scam. Mullen Automotive shares are trading higher after the company announced that its Mullen 1 and Mullen 3 vehicles have been added to the National Auto Fleets Group Sourcewell contract for public sector government purchasing. Here's one thing that I'll say right off the top. I haven't seen it in person, but if I ever came across a Mullen car in person, the last thing that I would do is get inside of it and trust my life with it. There is absolutely no chance. I'm just going to throw that one out there right away. Now, I see a lot of you talking about how low float this is, just under 1 million shares. I actually have the reading here at 1.04 million. I think, excuse me, sorry about that. I think my favorite comment here comes from Ryan. Mullen's got an 800K low float until they add more, and we know that they will not hesitate to dilute the absolute F out of the shareholders. That's spot on with this one here. Look, I know I'm kind of joking. We're kind of having some fun here. It's what we do on this show. I'm not going to trade this. Here's what the news is. Maybe this does provide a trade. The only thing I can possibly say to help you is, look, if you do opt to trade this gigantic steaming pile of junk, please make sure that if you ever get profits on it, that you don't lose those profits. That's all. That's all I ask. Do whatever you want, but keep yourself safe and make sure you don't lose money on the stock. We talk about it a lot.
This could probably be one of the better movers today, to be honest with you. I'm not going to give a lot of weight to this news. Government purchasing Mullen Automotive vehicles with Elon Musk in Doge. I don't see that going on for too long. I have maybe just chalk up to this. I have concerns. I have concerns that this funding may get cut immediately.
Okay, fair point. Now I will say here we're gonna laugh. We're gonna have a good day here today. We've got a really big event coming up later on. We're gonna laugh because right now I call this the middle finger formation. This is Mullen giving me. I'm not gonna show you what I mean by flicking off the camera here, but this right here, you're seeing it in real time. This is Mullen giving me a gigantic middle finger as it pops the pre-market high and goes higher.
Oh, gosh.
Trade this one at your own risk. I think 13 and I and the rest of the group, Jay Rice included, I think we've done quite a bit. We've tried our best to keep people protected from this. If you are savvy enough to actually make some money from this scam, my hat goes off to you. Please, though, please, just don't get wrecked on this one. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Mullen continuing its middle finger formation here.
This is a trading vehicle only. I would never own this for anything longer than a few minutes. I don't trust the company. I like the movement.
How could you?
I like the movement though. The movement's looking great. So I mean, if you're gonna trade it, just be in and out of this thing as quickly as possible. Don't have any regrets about what you're doing. You versus you says you already made 26% on it. Boom. That's what you want to do. Just be in, be out, and take the market and look for something else because this thing could come right back in with no hesitation.
Like I said, I am not going to fight anybody for wanting to trade this. And like I already said, if you're savvy enough to make money, good on you. I'll even give you a register ring and a 1-up. And Chewbacca loves it. But these are just such obviously bad stocks. Like it's just, I say here on the show that goal number one should be protecting your capital. And I feel like I'm going against, I'm telling you the correct goal. And then I'm going against it by saying, hey, we've got a setup here in this stock that we know is a piece of junk. Nonetheless, this is what's going on here. Trade it at your own risk. Please be careful. I don't want to see anyone get hurt. Mullen, in the last 15 minutes, they've done 3 reverse splits. Actually, it says in the last 15 months, but it would actually be funnier if it was the last 15 minutes on this. Anyway, okay, we spent enough time on this. We've had enough laughs here. Really good stuff. Okay. Should we keep going down this list here real quick? I can just cover it. Was there any on this list that you wanted to cover, or can I quickly kind of run through some of these so we can actually move to stocks that people care about?
The list that I was looking at this morning, it didn't have any really good headlines or news out of a lot of these names, so I kind of glossed over a lot of them, thinking,
Okay.
this may or may not work. So if you wanted to start running through these, that'd be fine.
Yeah, perfect. Let's do that. There's a couple on here that I just really quickly want to run through, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the other stocks that you folks wanted to take a look at. The next one here is going to be QVCGB. This is QVC Group. This is the online shopping like jewelry thing, isn't it? Core 8 Retail officially becomes QVC Group on Monday, February 24th. The company's stock will start trading under the new stock symbol QVCGA and QVCGB and QVCGP. Okay. Here you go. I guess real quick, just nothing, no short interest there. We're super low float. So maybe this does get rolling here. Let me just make sure. QVC Group is the live social shopping company with 6 retail brands, HSN, all that stuff. I've never bought anything from this. Actually, you know what? I'd like to know if you have an experience buying from HSN or QVC, let me know what it is. That would be something.
Take care, Carmen.
That would be something.
Had a question real quick that I wanted to just answer briefly. I was asked if Palantir's gap filled. So to fill the gap, that would mean we would have to get down to February 3rd's high, which is 425. And we had a low yesterday of, 80. It was 84.25. The low from yesterday is 85.25. So we're a dollar away. We came with just a dollar away from filling that gap. So I would say technically, no, we didn't. We did hit that high from January, which was, well, not quite actually. We got pretty close to that high from the day before in January, which was 85.22. So came within 3 cents of that, but not quite filled the gap there, to the penny.
I have a dollar. I have the top end of that gap that we did not quite fill. Oh, come on, chart. You're going to really do that to me? That's BS. Top end of that is 84.25. The bottom end of the candle from yesterday, 85.25. So I agree with you. We did not actually fill that gap. There's $1 worth of space there. The one thing I will say here about Palantir is that we absolutely did test the 50-day moving average. And this did come up off the lows. If we look inside, you can see what that looks like, right? We did come up off the lows. Wasn't a huge move back. And we did give up the positive gains that we had here in the pre-market only to go lower. I would not be shocked if we have the same type of thing here today. In fact, 13, I'm going to do a handy dandy trusty 13 trend line. And I'm actually going to drag this out here. So here we're incorporating yesterday as well. And I wonder if we could even drag this out some more. Anyway, incorporating yesterday, it looks like this is what we really need to kind of break out from. I've got that at about $90, 90 and change, maybe 91 ish here to kind of turn that around. I guess if you wanted to draw a little bit bigger of a trend, if you wanted to incorporate some more days, let's do that here real quick. You could make the argument that here in the pre-market that we broke this trend. Let's see which one of these resolves here. Palantir, just kind of looking around here real quick. Okay, the NASDAQ did turn around. Okay, so Palantir looks to be moving with the NASDAQ. We had just reported to you that the NASDAQ was up almost a full percent. It's now up only 0.43%. I got to wonder, was there another earnings report that we had this morning that came out?
Well, I will say about Palantir that even if we didn't fill the gap, this could still turn around here and move up higher. There's still that possibility, especially with the move off the 50-day SMA. I don't think it needs to fill the gap to try and turn around here, but I still don't think that I'd want to be going long here. Because I feel like we might just, get a few days where it tries to move back up before it heads lower. So I'd want to see a little bit more strength in the turnaround here. So that's not going to happen today. I just want to kind of wait this one out for Palantir.
Okay. Good stuff there on Palantir. This was one of the question that we got earlier. You kind of just answered that by saying you were going to wait this out. But the question we had got earlier was, is this a all right time to buy calls? And the way that I would answer that is I would say, well, we did come into the 50. So if you think that this stock is going to bounce from the 50-day, I would say, yes, that trade makes sense. You were patient enough to wait for the backside of this move. We came into one of those support levels. There's a chance that we bounce here. But as we kind of already outlined, there is that gap. There is definitely a possibility that we move lower. The market looks like it's turning lower right now. So maybe let that market kind of confirm what we're going to do here, and then maybe think about your call buying. If you think it's going to bounce from the 50, I think that trade makes sense. If you think that there's any more pullback, I don't think it makes sense. Very simply put,
you might have a good time doing a swing off the 50, to be honest. But that's not something I would personally do, just because I'm not much into swing trading.
Yep. Okay. BTC. Sebastian is freaking out. Sebastian, don't worry, man. Take a deep breath. Have some water. The last thing that we need is for you to have any type of coronary condition. Bitcoin is pulling here. Looks like it's down 2.66% here. We're actually pulling to the bottom end of the support area that we outlined. We've got that down here at about 85K and change. So Bitcoin is pulling here. It is weak here in the pre-market. If we look inside, I don't know if we get that chart. Let's see. Yeah, we sure do. So here we go. Bitcoin, look at this. We entered the support zone. We bounced, couldn't break back out of the support zone. And now we're kind of resolving lower. Got to think that the next spot we go to here is 85K. Was there news that came out about this? If there was, I might have missed it. Was there some type of news?
Yeah, I didn't notice anything. This guy, do momentum stocks make technical analysis useless? No, I don't believe that's the case, because if you have previous levels, where a stock like Mullen is starting to hit those on the way back up, those moving averages, those previous price levels that saw a lot of resistance, they're going to all come into play. So I would say absolutely not. The technicals will still matter.
I'm just seeing if I can find some of I don't see anything out there.
Jay Diamond, I saw that article. That was great. Okay, so
can you link me that article so I can go through that?
You'll have to give me a second, because it was on my phone when I was reading it. But basically, what he's getting at is there was probably the largest crypto hack ever done by North Korean hackers. They stole something like $1.5 billion worth of crypto. So let me see if I can find that for you.
Okay.
Or somebody might even be able to link it before me, but I'll look for you.
Okay, real quickly here, Jay Diamond. I'm gonna throw it up. You're making a call. We love calls here. Not gonna hold it against you, but the call has been made. The death of Bitcoin has arrived. So it seems to me like what you're saying here is that we all-time high prints are in and will never be above 100K again. That's one of the things I gleaned from your first sentence here. The major North Korean hack shows the vulnerabilities. Now, really quick reminder here for our group. Jay Diamond has been extremely bearish on Bitcoin, definitely been a Bitcoin bear. The call is in. So what do you think here? You think Jamie's got it right? Think Bitcoin's in, or do you think, as Robert is mentioning, that this just represents a buying opportunity? That is the $64,000 question. Jay Diamond, just to make things interesting here, I'm going to take the other side. I don't think the death of Bitcoin has arrived, and I think that we will at some point print highs above the all-time high. Maybe we don't get that this year, but I would say this is not the death, and it is exaggerated. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. It's me versus you, buddy.
I don't think
I'm trying to hype it. I'm just kidding.
I don't think this is going to be the death of Bitcoin. I think that would have to be something more like, I think some folks are mentioning it, like the breaking of the blockchain or the hacking of that. Like, it's going to be a cybersecurity related event, I believe, that could start to show the cracks in Bitcoin. But this is, because if you have your like a thumb drive that has your crypto wallet on it, and I just take that from you, that's also stealing it, but it doesn't compromise the cryptography of the asset. So I think really it's just it's going to probably give us a corrective move, or the pullback that we've been talking about in Bitcoin for a while. But I don't necessarily think this is the death. I think this is just going to be an opportunity to get it cheaper before it goes higher.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Izzy here saying, Ryan, I own Bitcoin under 4K. That's awesome. I think my price is like 6,400 from my initial buy, but it needs to crash so I can buy more. So I've been waiting that crash out for a long time, and I just capitulated and said, you know what? I'm just going to add a little bit here and there at a time. Let it build up. And also, just to be very clear here, folks, we have a long time. I want to be as clear as I can here. We have a long time, very supportive viewer whose handle here is Jay Diamond. So I know that there's a Jamie Diamond that leads JP Morgan. I doubt this is the same person. If it is, you're cool. But F you for having your bank charge me overdraft fees on Christmas when I was in college and couldn't afford it. That's another story. We're just having fun here, right? So I don't, just because we're talking about this, making calls about the death of this and that, we're just having some fun here. I don't want, sometimes when I look at people talking about Bitcoin on X, I just have to stop doing it because it seems toxic and unproductive. And the one thing that I really don't want to have happen is for that type of thing to come over here. I love looking at crypto. I love the varying opinions. I'm going to highlight both sides of the opinions. I'm going to tell you what my own opinion is. I'm going to admit when I'm wrong and all of that stuff. But I really don't want it to devolve into some of the internet trash, I guess we should call it. All about the back and forth. All about the back and forth. And Jay Diamond, I appreciate you putting out a call like that too. Just to be clear, even though I'm on a different side, I really appreciate it.
I still think it could go lower. I mean, I'm looking for like low 70s, maybe high 60s, but this is going to be an opportunity. And I think that's the most important highlight about this movement to the downside. It had a really big, robust movement up. We've double topped. We're coming back in. I just want to see this thing find a bottom before I get excited about wanting to try to trade it up to the upside. And I think there's some more downside ahead. Yeah,
and you're also right. That's how we make money, dude. That's right. You be on different sides of issues, and you're exactly right. So shout out to you. Also, I do like this comment quite a bit. Let me see if I can. You guys are fast and furious right now, which I love. Well, Diamond and Diamond are two different people. Yeah, but we're having some fun. We're having some fun here, Bigabees. Okay, this is actually just really quickly. This is a look at the Bitcoin chart. I was a little bit of a buyer here in this support area. I'll wait this out now. If this does come back into this breakout level that I currently have at about 73,500, I'd add some more. And I'm talking about, just so you guys understand, like Bitcoin, I think is about like 3 to 4% of my total investment portfolio. So if Bitcoin goes to zero next week, I'm going to be sad, but I'm not going to be a pauper. I'm not going to be worried about where I'm getting my food from. So again, just be very, very, be tactical with how you allocate things and all of that. Just kind of like my general word of warning. All right, let's get back to the chart here. Take a look at a couple more stocks. You folks are absolutely awesome. I love this. I love this. I love this. I love how much interaction and engagement we have here. Is exactly what I was hoping for, especially on a day like today. And we haven't even got to NVIDIA's earnings. That's awesome. Okay, I did really quickly want to look at Amazon because Izzy brought up a really great point yesterday. 13, I would love to get your take on this, sure, especially with how adept you are at looking at charts. Here's your Amazon daily. Amazon has been pretty weak recently, and yesterday, boy, oh boy, was it weak again. Let me get my favorites here so I can do this really quickly. Boom, boom, boom. Here is yesterday's 1 minute chart. Amazon just completely weak out of the open. Actually had what felt like in the moment a bit of a flush down towards 200 here. And then we started to recover. And not only did we start to recover, we actually went green at the very, very end of the day. So, Izzy, your point earlier was, I bought the dip here on Amazon. The buy the dippers might be back. And that's kind of what I want to pose to people. We talked a little bit about the SPY not trading like it did on some of those other pullback days. Now we have a huge tech name here that did the same thing, right? Buy the dippers were clearly in force, at least on Amazon yesterday. I had mentioned one of my mentors took a huge option position that he shared live on this here. In a recent report, JP Morgan analyst Doug Anmuth, hope I pronounced his name right. I'm sorry if I didn't, Doug. Highlighted Amazon as his, quote, best idea, end quote, for 2025, citing an expected acceleration in U.S. e-commerce. So it sounds like, Doug, they're saying that the consumer is not going to tighten all that much. I want to know what you folks think. Are the buy the dippers back? 13, I'm going to start with you here. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, but I do want to get your opinion. With what you saw yesterday, I know we're waiting for some more data here today. Do you think that buy the dip is back or not?
I think that this year stocks are going to still be the more preferred asset to own. And I still think that we need to see a correction before we start to see, higher, price action. So what I mean is, I think that we're still going to see some more corrective moves. But by the end of the year, I think the SPY will still be higher than what we started the year with. Probably significantly higher. That's my thought. So I don't necessarily know that the buy the dippers are back now. I think it's still too early to make that call, and I want to see more confirmation. I would personally, like I said, love to see more weakness before we start to turn around. But with Amazon in particular, yesterday's candle, their daily candle, was probably one of the more clearer bullish reversal candles that you can see. So you can get, this is a clear hammer. I would say that, we probably are going to start trading back up, but we still have the 50-day SMA that we have to get past. I have 50 seconds. We still have the 50-day SMA to get past. There's still some other levels that I would want to see recaptured. 220 is one of them. So I'm not saying that, I don't want to say that, we're the buy the dippers are back. We're going to start going back up to new all-time highs. This could be a bull trap. This could be something that we start to think everything's coming back, everything's looking good, and then we just get hammered again and go even lower. I need more convincing that we're coming back here. So I'm taking this with a cautious approach.
Okay, really good stuff there. Like it. The other thing that you can watch here to see if buy the dippers are back, some of those big crazy Momo names, do those get bought? Amazon's a great company. I expect people to like Amazon even in the worst of markets. But look at this. Kava reported earnings yesterday. This got smoked. Do these names get bought? That should help us figure this out. Okay, we are open, folks. Let me get back over to the main page here. Let's take a look at the scanner. Let's set up some trades. Giddy up. Good luck. Let's go. Let's have a great Wednesday ahead of NVIDIA's report. Okay. Right. Here is ENVB. First move here looks like it's up. Let me actually get this in another window here so I can also talk to you about the time and sales in level 2, what we see here. This at an interesting spot here, this 326, 320. Oh, my chart's a little, kind of catching up here a little bit. This actually got rejected right here at 326, right at that pre-market high candle. So this now is going to represent the first upside level that we really need to take out, 326. VWAP currently supporting it here at 299.
Diamond hotline. What I was saying about Palantir is I don't necessarily think it needs to fill the gap to start turning around and going back up. It could just start doing that now because we hit the 50-day SMA. That's what I was saying. So it could bounce here. It could continue to go up, but it may also come back down later and completely fill the gap. But I don't think it needs to do that from here in order to start going back up, is what I was saying.
And there we go. ENVB right through 326, 330. Let's see if it could hold here. Can it go higher?
It's got to get to 355 and start closing over that. 356 was the pre-market high.
Let's try it. Okay, it pulled back from that 326. It's not breaking down yet. This area, to me, I think is important. 340 would be next. Let's see if we can get it here on ENVB. I'll tell you what, here we go. Buying looking good. Time and sales looking good.
It's certainly
340 is that next resistance level.
They're going to start walking it down. SYTA.
Sorry, really quickly here. They did walk that down, but man, the buyers are relentless. Here we go. Right back on here. Watch this 340 spot. Bang. All right.
Nice. SYTA not having the same kind of day. This one halted to the downside. So this is what I was talking about. I wanted to wait and see what it does. I think I was also saying about ENVB. This one, the NVB, still, and look at that. Look at all that size they have up there at 350 that they're trying to take out right now.
They're hitting it right now and through.
All right, and we're through the.
And we're through now. This is going to halt here, folks. 380.
Wow.
Oh, nope, never mind. Sorry, they pulled it right off that spot. It looked for a sec like it was going to halt there. They pulled it off that spot. Here we go. Going to halt right here, 393. If it holds, it is going to. We got our first one here. Boy, that didn't even take more than 3 minutes, folks. We hooked one right out of the open into a halt. I am not in this anymore. 1 for 1 on the day on this, though. Bang, bang, bang.
Nice job. Excuse me. So blew through that 355 area. As soon as it did, that's when it really started to take off on its way up to the 390 level. Through that now, 440 is the next level that I have. And we'll see what happens from there. So now we have ENVB and SYTA, both the ones we talked about this morning, halted to different directions, actually.
Okay.
Mullen pulling off their 568 high.
I was just going to say while that was all happening, a shout out to you folks who were also mentioning Mullen here, saying, don't look at Mullen. Look, when you say don't look at Mullen, we're going to look at Mullen. Mullen here definitely had that huge move. This actually pulled back down towards the VWAP and so far is bouncing. Again, just as a reminder, I am not going to trade this no matter the setup. But good luck if you guys do it. Anthony saying, I'm still in it. There you go. Make sure you don't give up those gains. Actually, I do think, especially given the action that we saw into that halt, I'm willing to bet ENVB opens up higher after that. Good morning, Chris. Hello, friends.
Mullen's still trying to hang in there, but we shouldn't be looking at it.
TRNR, this was another one that we had on the list. We didn't really have enough time to cover it. So really quickly here, Interactive Strength shares trading higher after the company issued FY25 pro forma revenue guidance above estimates. This stock actually lost its VWAP right out of the open, but it's not breaking down. Watch for a VWAP recapture there at 149. PETA, this is just a crappy penny stock. SMCI, how's that doing? I see one of the inverse ETFs here. Let's see what that premium did on SMCI. Oh,
it's starting to come back up, but it fell out of the open.
So those calls that I was telling you about, the calls that expired this Friday, that had an implied volatility of 440%, right after the open, that cut in half, 230%. Some of that premium definitely came in there. Izzy's already 2 for 2 on Disney. God, you just love it.
What were you on Disney for? Was this the Kathleen Kennedy leaving the company at the end of the year? Because I think that's bullish. She's destroyed the Lucasfilm brand, so pretty good that she's getting out of the company.
Real quickly here, poll numbers regarding SMCI. We had that poll running here in the pre-market. Thank you everyone that voted here. Do you trust SMCI and its accounting issues? 39% of you said no, 33% of you said not sure, and 26% of you said yes. So we have actually a pretty good split there across that. No, nothing got higher than 39%. That's a pretty even distribution there on SMCI.
Right. We're getting some pretty good movement with BBAI this morning. It's up almost 10%. The high from yesterday is 617, and we're right there. So that's a level that I'm watching for to see if we break out or get rejected at. And if we break out, might have a run up to 680.
Not bad here. By the way, so Izzy saying no, Disney's been strong 3 days in a row when the market is down. So relative strength play there for Izzy. Love it. BBAI at that breakout spot. This was a good mention here. Right here, 617 looks to be that spot. BBAI.
Oh, Izzy, I also like this this 112 spot here. So it's been trying to get over the 50 and 20-day SMAs like for it's like over a week now. Yeah, it's been about a week. So I think I see what you got going on here. You're trying to play this for the move up over 112 and maybe even higher. It's been trying to get above that area. But if we continue to close above the 50 and the 20-day SMA like we are setting up to today, I could see this going higher. That's good mention here.
Jay mentioning LNTH. That's one of the stocks that you've been trading really well recently. Nice little pop here. This up 11.5% on the back of those earnings. It's actually a really nice hold of the 500-day. We did the same thing last time. You know, trading higher here. Maybe we can take the 200 out again here. $95 an LNTH. I wonder, do they have liquid option chain? I wonder. Nice move there. 95 calls have some open interest, and there's spread. Not a whole lot of volume in there, but that's interesting. Might look at that.
ENVB is open. SYTA should
Let me go back to it.
Unhalt pretty soon as well.
Looks like ENVB did go higher there. 407 going to be your high print there, but it pulled off that spot. Now, again, looking at the level 2 here, we are lower, but there are still some bids. They're sinking it here. But there are still bids coming in, so it does look like there's still buying interest here. Here we go. I mean, we might be coming right back on here. No position for me on ENVB. I'm going to wait this one out.
We're going to want to see that 355 area hold now that we've moved over it. So that's now support.
There were some sizable offers firming up there at 4. Here we go, and right through, and new highs, and bang. That was just a delayed reaction. Oh, my goodness. 450 here, ENVB, your high print.
All right, now we're getting into some consolidation. That's going to be, well, it just kind of reversed off the area where we were going to start to get consolidation. But that area is going to be from 4, let's see what I had, 440 up to 555, 550. That's where I would kind of peg maybe even 560. That's where I would kind of peg the top end of that consolidation. So we move through that. This could even get up into I would say we could start seeing stupid levels in this one. And
it feels like that early. I'm with you on that one.
One of the stupid levels I have is 845.
Okay. Real quickly here. Appreciate this. I know that you guys mentioned this earlier here today. We were talking about something else at the time. ENVB has pulled off that 450 spot. We'll check back in on it. ASTS, which we affectionately call Astus here. AST Space Mobile shares are trading higher after the company was awarded a $43 million contract in support of the U.S. Space Development Agency through its prime contractor. This popped it here in the pre-market. We're taking the next leg up here in the regular session on the back of this piece of news. Next level higher here, 33.5 would be one we're taking a look at. What do you think of this news here? I know that this is one that you follow quite a bit. This $43 million contract. Space development. No, if you need to read about it, no problem. Don't need to put you on the spot.
Well, the one I'm more interested in is the lunar launch, which is supposed to be happening, I think, today. Let me double check. It's their second mission to go and land on the moon. Hopefully, not tipping over this time. But they have a number of rovers and other instruments that are going to be used on this launch, and they're supposed to make contact with the moon on like the 6th or 7th of March. But I think it launches today. Let me just double check that. That's the news I'm interested in. This contract award for ASTS, I'll look at that as well.
Okay.
Also, there's a lot of squeezing happening here with ASTS as well. So that's helping it lift it higher.
Mullen here flirting with 5 again. PRCH, this is another one that we've traded before. This is Porch Group here. Porch Group shares trading higher. The company reported earnings yesterday, actually taking another leg higher today on the backs of those earnings. TRNR halted. Kel? This one a little bit tougher here, but a nice little move, little dip and rip. That halt here, that was a push away from the VWAP. We had actually recaptured that VWAP already. TRNR halted up near the pre-market highs. Apple is getting smacked here. I saw Chris, was that you? Chris taking an Apple long here, so love it. Apple selling off out of the gate. Chris looking to take this long. Maybe we bounce here. Did we have news? This is only down 2%. Did we have news on this?
Yeah, ASTS. I think I'd just be careful with this. And if you weren't in it for the move, then I don't know that I'd want to buy up here and hold on to it. The float's still really heavy. and I only looked at this as being some kind of company that's going to provide communication satellites for more legacy companies, and legacy bands of communication, the radio bands. So I don't know how. I don't have enough on this to really form an opinion on where this is going to end up going, but I just have concerns about the size of its float, and the fact that it's already. I mean, this thing has got a market cap of over $5 billion, and we're pushing this up on a $43 million contract. Seems like a drop in the bucket.
Real quickly here, Apple, Chris, just kind of looking at the spot here on Apple. I actually don't hate this play here. 240 would be the level beneath it. That's only $1.50 beneath. I actually think you might even be able to dollar cost average and add if it finds support there. But interesting nonetheless here on that trade. Kind of like this setup, honestly. Let's take a quick look around here. What's Mullen doing? Or should I even ask? Mullen still kind of holding in there. PETA. This is a penny stock that's junk. Porch, this actually holding its VWAP, might be trying to roll higher. SMCI, how we doing there? Rolling over. Looks like there are some other people that don't trust it. It's not just the 39% of us. INOD, another 10%. Remember, this had 70 prints, really pulled back. Now going back towards those highs. I'm not in this one. We're really early on this one. Tiger, this is another one that makes a pretty decent day trade. Watch Tiger. This actually might make a move towards 8 here today. Really kind of broke 8 and fell. When was this? What, Monday? What? Put Tiger on your watch. I got no position on that either, but that would be one to watch. TIGR. SYTA came all the way back in. Did that? Not quite, but came back in towards that 65 EMA on the 5. I had that at 506. Now it is bouncing here. Didn't you say at the open here that you didn't really trust this one? That was a crispy call.
Well, I wanted to see what it did at the open. It looked like it had a great setup. Like I liked the whole bullpen that it had going on, but I wanted to wait and see what it did at the open.
All right, we're getting asked for HIMS levels as that's moving here. Let me throw up a bigger chart here. We can try and do that for you.
Yeah, it looks like Palantir is still trying to push up to go higher. 949. I'm sorry, 91.49 is the pre-market high. It's trying to push up into that.
HIMS this morning, we did get 2 price target raises. So these are not upgrades or downgrades, but instead of price target adjustment. Truist raised to 39. And TD Cowen went from 28 to 44. Now, HIMS here up 7% here today. You were asking for levels. Honestly, we're kind of in one here. This let's call it 42 to maybe 45-ish right in here, 45, 50-ish. This is an area where we kind of spent several days before we really, really ripped. So this area is pretty interesting. It did kind of bounce off the 50-day. Another area that I would watch for more upside here would be the 20-day moving average at 47. I don't know. I think at least right now we want to clear 43.22 and then 47 would be my next 2 upside levels on HIMS. What say you, 13?
Oh, sorry, I was
that's okay.
Reading some of the chat. Izzy was mentioning that to keep an eye on Fubo if Disney keeps going because they're tied together now. With the deal they had announced. I think it was late last year. But you're asking what about HIMS? I'm sorry.
I'm just asking for levels here. We had several people in the chat that were looking for some levels. Again, just to kind of repeat mine here, upside levels, the top of yesterday's candle, I've got that at 43.22. And then I have 47. And then I have maybe even the bottom of this candle here at the close of that. That was, excuse me, the open of that would have been 48.14.
So that level you mentioned at 43.20, I'm looking at 43.30. That looks like an interesting level to me based on the price action we had from the pre-market and regular session yesterday. Okay. And prior to that day on Monday, we hit a low in the regular session of what is this? 43.81. That would be another level I'd be looking at for resistance. And if we move through that, then we could continue to see some upward price action probably well into the 40s some more. We really don't get into a lot of consolidation until we get into the 48 handle. So maybe once we hit 48, that might be a sign that we might be wanting to look for signs of more increased selling.
Okay, interesting. That actually would be a recapture of the 22 if we went to 48 there. So interesting, nonetheless. Okay, hopefully that answers your question there, real quick. Asus. Hi, I'm interested in buying your subscription. What's the difference between the YouTube broadcast and Benzinga Pro? A huge difference. The YouTube broadcast, this is a hangout spot, right? This is a hangout community spot. Everyone is welcome. There's no such thing as a stupid question. We try to raise the tide for everybody here. The platform or the tool that we use for news, scanning, and other things is Benzinga Pro. So this is just what I'm sharing on the screen here. Two totally different things. We'd love to have you in both. One is a subscription, the other is free.
Looks like BBAI got as high as 626 before coming back down to VWAP. Looking a little weak, but still above the 591 level that I have here. And also still above the 591 level and the pre-market high.
Okay, BBAI still trying here.
TRNR, it was getting mentioned that it's open. That just popped up to 221. Fubo getting hammered. It's a huge engulfing candle on the regular session 5-minute chart.
Interesting. First Solar reported earnings yesterday. The initial move was down before going higher and then kind of settling it unchanged, really kind of screwing the option buyers. But today, totally different story, plus 12%, big rip out of the open here on First Solar. Really quickly, that report there was a mixed report. They missed on the EPS, but beat on sales. How was the guide there? Sees 2025 net sales 5.3 to 5.8 versus the 5.5 estimate. That was right in line with guidance.
They're these analyst ratings are pushing this thing up. They're talking 285, 236, and the price is still in the 160s.
Okay. Izzy, you were saying ONDS rip here today. Look, we'll take any upside move this thing can get. This thing has really kind of been tough trading recently. News here from yesterday, not well received, at least not by the market. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a regressive bounce here today. Would love to see this recapture 120. I did add a little bit to this yesterday.
So SYTA and ENVB.
ENVB all the way back to VWAP. Wow.
Yeah, right back to start, trying to come back up. Haven't really done much trading this morning, just that one move in ENVB.
That's the only day trade that I have here today.
Yep.
Thank you, producer. So you guys had asked about a number of things here. The Palantir calls. By the way, ENVB, it is trying to bounce here off the VWAP, so keep that in mind. Guys were asking about Palantir more specifically, if this was a good time to buy calls. We covered that. We talked about Amazon. Kava was another one on the list there. Producer here mentioning that is trying to rebound after earnings. Boy, we talked about Kava a lot. We actually talked about this yesterday. What caused this to move? Here's the chart, by the way. So clearly in a move down, they're way too expensive for this Mediterranean restaurant. In my opinion, we lost a 200-day. 200-day didn't even provide any support for this thing. This was a mixed earnings, but it was the sales growth slowing, right? This is what you picked out of the report yesterday. That went from double digits to, remind me of what happened. It went from double digits to single digit sales growth, and that kind of knocked the growth story out of the way here.
Yeah, there was a couple of things. That was the big thing for me was in their report, they had mentioned that for fiscal year 2024, they saw same restaurant sales of 13.4%. And then they guided fiscal year 2025, same restaurant sales as being somewhere in the range of 6 to 8%. So it's a pretty significant drop off there in same restaurant sales growth. The other thing was that there was also, I think they cited increased costs for their, for bringing in food. So it's a combination of that, the slowing sales growth, margin compression, just nothing that really, investors that want to take this up higher really, excited to see them report about. So this is coming in because fiscal year 2025 not looking as good as last year.
Okay, you can see Kava here really sank after that
Yeah,
print. Got bought back and went green.
crazy.
Today it's actually trying to bounce here. I'll say this for a trade. I got no position here, and I'm not trying to trade it here in no man's land. But if this thing traded back up towards this 200 at 113 and a half ish, and was unable to take this out, I think I might start looking at some puts as a downside swing trade here on Kava, ticker CAVA.
Yeah, and it could have a brief period of turning of of rebounding
Absolutely.
because look at that RS. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And it could be over in a day or a week, but there is going to be some rebounding. But I don't think that's where I want to buy. This is going to put a nasty looking bear formation on the chart if it does try to come back up and recapture that 200-day SMA.
Bingo. And that is exactly what I'm kind of waiting out here. Jay Rice, let me know, what do you think of Kava's stock here? Pretty sharp on some of these bigger momentum names. And have you been to the Kava in Scottsdale? Okay, let me go back to the main workspace there. We'll take a look and see what's moving around here. But we've had a kind of a busy, interesting morning already here today. We haven't even got to NVIDIA's earnings.
Pretty Panda, great job with your trade, and even a greater job with your discipline. Got to just shout that out. He's not liking anything he sees. He's just waiting for NVIDIA. He might just have a beer and wait. I'm not going to argue with any of that.
Might have a beer. Boy, we got Crow having these morning beers. That's proliferating here.
Ooh, you're mentioning, let's see, this guy was mentioning EIX. This is the one that got hammered on the Palisades fire in Los Angeles. So the 53 level, I mentioned it maybe last week when I said it, that's a level to watch for, because that is the one we need to recapture before we start to see some movement back up to where the price was before the fire. Don't know that we'll get there.
Did you say 54?
53.
53, excuse me.
Yeah, 53 is the big level that we need to start closing over. Looks like we could end up getting that now that we've finally moved over the 20-day SMA. Today's price action is trading on the upside of that. So that's that. That's what I'd still be watching for, is a recapture and hold of 53. That might be the indicator we need that's going to tell us if this is going to go higher or not. And we're probably going to get that with their earnings, which is reporting tomorrow after the close.
Pretty Panda says it's 5%, or it's 5 p.m. over here. Greeting from the Nordics. It was not just to be clear here, I was not criticizing you at all. But thanks for joining us. It is always 5 o'clock somewhere. By the way, ENVB, this does look like this is curling here on that intraday chart. Maybe we do get a bounce here. Haven't really got it yet, but maybe we still get that.
Palantir's smaller time frame looks like it's trying to set up to go higher.
Okay.
We've already put a high of 91.27 in. So, and it's trying to get back above VWAP. It's just got a nice setup. This is a heavy float, so I don't know that we're going to get this massive breakout, but it did just almost fill the gap. It's trying to reverse and move back up. So we'll see if that's what we get out of this. Just be careful, because the float's still pretty heavy. And
Lion here saying EIX still has to deal with some bad news for the fire. I think that's one of the things, right? Like they're still figuring out everything that went wrong and everything that was preventable in that horrific disaster. And I don't know how that's going to shake out. 13. I'm curious to know what you feel about that. But we are still expecting news and information on both sides of that.
Yeah, I think the big question mark is their liability if they ended up starting it. Now, I know that they do have on the state side, they have some protections for companies like this to, for instances like this, kind of like an insurance thing of sorts. But if they are found liable for this, then I don't know that that's going to, that California is necessarily going to be able to bail them out. I'm with Lion on this. I think that there's a lot of question marks that make this a little bit risky. But again, the $53 level, once we recapture that, I think that's going to be the technical move that we need to see for this to go back up. So it may kind of, take those concerns and put them in the back seat while this tries to recover. I feel like it will recover, but to his point, they still have a lot of work they have to deal with. So I don't know how long that's going to take, but $53, still watching for it.
Okay. Good stuff there. OKLO, this is one of those Mo names that has really been shellacked recently. This actually came back in and tested a trend line that we have drawn going all the way back to last spring, I beg your pardon. OKLO trying to bounce here up 9% here today. It's been a pretty good trade.
TRNR showing some upper shadows. Be careful with that one. Light Atlas, as far as their customers, they lost some for pretty obvious reasons. I don't think that's anything to really joke about, but yeah, they don't have any. Some of those customers don't have homes anymore. But as far as them losing customers, as if there's another utility in the area that people can switch to, that's not going to be the case. They hold a pretty sizable hold over the most of Southern California. There's not another option for people to go to, basically.
That's always the big thing with those power companies here.
Yeah.
Okay. TRNR, this is actually kind of flagging higher here. This could still break higher. I'm not necessarily interested in it. Porch Group, this one I'm a little bit more interested in. Watch the 550 area here, PRCH. ENVB, boy, am I glad that we took some money from that early on, because the situation here looks even worse now. We tried to bounce, unable to bounce. We're back down to the low end of the pre-market consolidation area. Still some more room to fall here on ENVB. And shout out to you, 13, because you were saying earlier, it's basically just comes down to a patent.
Yeah, we went right up to all our levels we had outlined. I mean, we went slightly higher than the 440 level. We got up to 450, but yeah, we absolutely did a turnaround right there, and we're lower now.
Anthony here says, time to have a drink and sit on my profits today. Thank you again, guys.
Nice.
See, I told you it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Oh, it was 5 o'clock somewhere. Amazon calls, repeat calls here, 220 calls. Amazon continuing its move off those lows yesterday. The other thing to keep in mind here, we're talking about is buy the dip kind of back. Well, so far, so good. SPY here. I know we dipped a little bit right out of that open, but we are actually above the pre-market highs now. Remember, we talked about how this was different action than we had seen previously yesterday. It looks like we're getting some continuation of that. TRNR also halted to the upside here now, as that did break out of that formation. How about that?
Yeah, they killed all the shorts that were trying to push it down.
Sure did.
New home sales coming up, says Big of Ease.
And Pretty Panda, you must have been watching the tape here. That was a one block, like big buy or like one big offer that got taken out there that pushed it into a new upward halt. We often watch those. Good stuff.
Just completely took them all out.
Sideshow, we appreciate you. That's okay, my man. It's don't feel like you have to. That's how you compound problems.
Yeah.
If you don't have the setup you're waiting for, that's discipline. We're all right on that.
Yeah, don't force any of this, especially in this tape. I mean, I know it seems like, we're coming back and the dip's getting bought, but I still need some more confirmation of that. You might be the same way. I think that's great discipline.
Let's see if SPY can actually recapture 600 here. It's trying to bounce 597.5. By the way, market breadth green across the board here. SPY, Dow, Qs, Russell, Nice, all green on the breadth. We have a market-wide bounce. Haven't had a big tick candle yet, but strong so far here.
The 50-day SMA on the SPY is at 598.63.
Yep.
So we're less than $1 away from that.
That was one of the levels that we gave you earlier. PRCH, by the way, this did bounce off the VWAP. I think if this loses VWAP, you can kind of wait for this to firm up, but otherwise still risk on here. How's HIMS doing? HIMS continuing to bounce here. Sorry, 13, I didn't mean to run you over there.
No, that's okay.
Reddit. Hans, how you doing on Reddit? We talked about that one earlier. And every time I see you, I think of Hans Gruber, man. And I'm not pissed about that, honestly. I think it's pretty awesome. It's such a great movie. Nonetheless here, okay, so Reddit looks like the 156 double bottom so far has really kind of held here.
Oh,
3.5%. Maybe we go higher. Sorry, 13. I did it again.
It's going to take much longer than a year to rebuild those houses, if they even rebuild them at all. I mean, you got to understand that some of these houses in the Palisades are in some pretty unique areas that, since they were built, have had a whole number of different building codes that may prevent them from even being rebuilt at this point. because of the kind of areas that they're in. So to your point about them losing those paying customers, the ones that lost homes for a long while, yeah, absolutely. They're going to lose them for a lot longer than a year, though. And they may lose them permanently. So what's going to happen is you might see their other paying customers' utility rates increase as a result of this. So one more reason not to be living in Southern California right now. Sorry if you live there.
Real quickly here, QVCGB. We actually popped into a halt. We've now resumed and we're trying to go higher. Watch if this takes out to 1250. Is this going to halt again?
Man,
it might. I don't know. Yeah, we're halted again here in 2 upside halts. Real quick, QVCGB. I tell you what, this home shopping network stack here, pretty thin. Someone, I like to comment earlier, I didn't shout it out at the time, 1992 called and they wanted their shopping network back. That got a chuckle here. This halted to the upside.
I like that. You ever watch those?
Oh man, yeah, I sure did.
Especially when you're trying to, you didn't have a whole lot of cable content at the time, and
you're trying to go to sleep, and you flip around, and you didn't have the guide, and you used the channel up arrow, and you came across something on QVC. I lost.
Well, that's pretty cool. I don't know if I'd buy it, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember there was like this bracelet that was supposedly going to tap into the power of magnetism to make you feel better and have more energy. And it was like $59.99. And oh gosh, ended up buying that one, but man, oh man.
The money we spent stuff on the Crow PRCH.
Yep. Well, I said that I liked this setup a little bit more. Came back in, held the VWAP now higher here. You versus you. Bang, bang, bang. Oh, nope. Sorry. That was Crow. My bad.
They've both been making some pretty good calls today.
Nope. I just made a mistake. It's okay to be wrong, not okay to stay wrong. AXON, this is the body camera company. This is also the border security play that we had talked about here. This reported earnings, did a really good job holding those earnings. Looks like it tried to move higher here, but was unable to do so far. Plus 15% here. This is what I wanted to see. Analyst price target raised at TD Cowen 7 to 725. Northland went from 550 to 585. Needham maintains their $600 price target. I don't think this one's breaking down here. Exxon. Nice little continuation there.
Yeah. Okay. So with PRCH, we moved through this 585 like we're doing right now. My next level that I have here is going to be 675.
Okay.
I don't know when the last time we trade this was, but
it was. I feel like it was a while, right?
It might have been December.
6. What did you have? 75. Yeah. It might. Yeah. Man.
You know what? This thing went on a run that we may have traded. It could have been like late last year into this I'm sorry, not late last year. It could have been late 2023.
23, yeah, maybe.
But it did a lot of really big moves from the end of August until the middle of December as well last year. So could have been then too.
Yo, really I got let's take a look here real quick. Bitcoin, guys, Bitcoin bouncing.
Good morning, Daniel.
They heard Jay Diamond, and they're like, you know what? We're not ready to go yet. We're not ready to let that guy win. Let's see if we can actually get back towards 90K here. For me to really kind of change the scenario here on Bitcoin, we really need to recapture 90K. Good morning, Daniel. Hopefully you are well.
Keeping an eye on TRNR. This thing might be setting up to try and go higher. The last 5 minute.
Let me cue it up for you. I'm gonna step away for just one sec. Here you go.
The last 5 minute candle that it had could be reversal. It's a neutral candle, so it could indicate that it's trying to turn around here. But if we continue to hold up above, let's say 220, we might be able to push into new highs in the day, on the daily. So that'll be a level to watch for 220. See if we hold it. And Reddit hit the target of 166. You got lucky. Your plan worked out, Hans. So maybe a little bit of luck, maybe a little bit of skill. Crow mentioning PITA, PITA. Looks like we're TRNR is also trying to come down to that level I mentioned, but let's take a look at PITA. Okay, so this is trying to, this is a penny stock. This is trying to move up into the 60-cent area. A lot of consolidation, not a lot, but some consolidation between 60 and 66 cents. So we might see some resistance there, but if we move through that, then we could see a pretty good jump up to the 70-cent area, where it's going to likely find some further resistance.
I'm back.
Hey.
Okay. Let me catch up here with the chat real quick. Chris, did you answer this question on McDonald's?
I did not answer that, no.
Okay, I'm going to take a stab at this then. First of all, Chris, welcome. McDonald's, not a stock that we look at often, but we occasionally do. Last time I traded this, I ended up taking an L on it, unfortunately. Chris here saying, does today's first minute candle on McDonald's signal bullishness? So here's your 1 minute intraday chart here. The candle that Chris is talking about is the one right out of the open here. Looks like we actually had a pretty decent range on that. High to low, got about a 4-point range, just under a 4-point range on this. So I think what you're asking here, Chris, is when you see a move like this out of the open, does that mean that it's bullish? And my answer here, I want to say no, just because I can't say that it's like that in all cases. But the reality here is that there was likely someone waiting to buy it, or some group waiting to buy. They ended up buying right on the open. There just happened to be too many sellers taking profit right there. Can this kind of rebound or kind of trade back up? Yeah, sure. You can see here, and actually, if we go to the daily chart here, it'll be a little bit more clear. We are actually on a pretty decent run. What's that?
It filled the gap.
Yes, it did. I was going to say we're on a pretty decent move off this 97, 94 level, but 13 is sharp as a tack. And as a result here, we actually traded up on this candle, filled the gap. Looks like we don't have the strength to go through it. So what I would say here to answer your question is this does not necessarily mean that something is bullish. Just because the first move here was up. And shout out 13 real quickly, just a look at a longer time frame chart here helps complete that picture. We basically filled this gap. Let's see where we close here today. But no, I would say that this does not definitely mean that it is bullish.
I don't look at this as today's price action is very bullish, because you did get that gap fill. We turned around after that. We're starting to sell off in this stock. We're actually going to be, if we close down here where the price is currently at, like down in the 308.60s, that's going to engulf the price action from yesterday. It would be another bearish technical move on the side of the stock. So you don't want these bearish engulfing candles showing up after such a reversal from filling a gap. That could mean there's more downside coming. I would say that if we if we do close and engulf this yesterday's candle, I would be looking at the 306.25 area as the next level of support. If you draw a line pretty much across you can even do it at 306 if you want, but let's say 306 just to make it easy. You draw a line completely across all the price action going back to into October last year. You can see that was also a resistance area before we broke out of there on October 14th. So 306 to me looks like a really important area of support. Does that make sense?
Did to me. I'm sorry. I'm trying to edit this here for you.
No worries.
Trying to draw that 306 line.
So what was previously resistance has turned into support. It did lose that support at one point earlier this month, only to recapture it. But it's still going to be one of those levels that has to hold the price up on its way down. And if it doesn't, then I think there's just more downside ahead.
Chris, also, you were saying a print like that sure fakes out some of these daily candles, and you're absolutely right about that. Sometimes you'll hear us here saying that we're going to wait out the first few minutes of the market. This is one of those reasons, right? You're able to keep yourself protected from candles just like that, or from fake outs, I should say, just like that. Really good question, though. Good to have you here. ENVB, by the way, this is curling. So I know we
Yes.
were kind of going over McDonald's there. This is curling back up.
Yeah, coming. It's traded right back up to the pre-market consolidation here. Now this could be either a rejection area or a breakout area. So we'll see what we end up getting with this. It does look like it wants to hold around the 275 area where it was. That was a level I have marked off here from previous price action. It was also a resistance turn support level in the pre-market. So hopefully it provides some support here.
So at a mobile, maybe it's trying to find its bottom here. We'll see more Amazon calls getting bought. But I tell you what, I've been seeing Amazon calls getting bought all morning here, Izzy. At what a move off that yesterday, off that low yesterday. What a move. Huge move. And Jonathan, you were mentioning the IWM. Shout out to you. You're exactly right. The IWM is what's leading the way higher. Boy, am I glad I closed some of that TZA position yesterday. Whew. That thing went 100%, by the way. Nonetheless, here, IWM leading the way higher here, actually on the next leg higher.
I think Nina from our happy hour group, she mentioned this on Monday. It's going to lead the way higher. And I also think that it's going to lead the way lower. So whatever the IWM does, the market may end up following.
Can you remind me to shout her out today if she's on the happy hour?
Absolutely. We love giving flowers to everybody that makes great calls.
I want again, whole goal. I'll be very transparent here. Whole goal is I want you folks to feel okay missing calls or making calls, meaning that if you make good ones, we're going to shout it out. And if you make a call, especially an actionable one, and it doesn't work, let's discuss why it works, as opposed to saying, you were wrong. That's not how it works.
We also might get some reversal in SYTA and Mullen. So keep an eye on those as well. All those
you said Mullen. I mean, I'm just. You're right though. you're not wrong.
They look like they're trying to turn around. I'm not guaranteeing anything out of these names, but they just look like they're trying to turn around.
And you guys are mentioning App here. App getting smoked. Boy, this thing down 21. This thing down 80 plus points here. Multiple short reports. Hey, we're getting one. Multiple. Here we go. All right. Where's Lion? Lion? Someone reach through the screen, slap Lion, and wake him up. Get him back. There he is. All right, Lion, we got another short report here. App Lovin'. Fuzzy Panda. Watching App Lovin'. Shares move lower as traders circulate Fuzzy Panda research report on the company. That's what's happening here. Let me actually load that report up.
Where are your flower smoke tuna?
Here, right here. Smoke tuna. You have a constant flower subscription that we never even make you pay on.
Yeah, you pretty much run Conroy's now.
Okay, real quick, for those of you that don't have Benzinga Pro, I'm sorry, but I will share this here with you. Here is a link right to the actual research report. Again, fresh as of today. AppLove and former alleged ad fraud. Is DTC Hype actually stealing metadata? Illegal tracking of children and serving sex ads to kids?
Jeez.
God, this sounds terrible. I don't even want to. I mean, man, oh man. I know we're here to make money. Stuff like that generally concerns me. I like to just kind of stay away from stuff like that. But Lion, I ask you, what's the move here? Ticker is App, APP, Alpha, Papa.
Well, that ENVB pump was short-lived, right to that consolidation in the pre-market, and now we're back down to the 275 area. Looks like this could end up going lower.
Okay. I would make a request here to the group. If any of you trade the short report dip, meaning if you traded either direction, but what the point that I was making here is if you're trading this APP dip, please let me know. And if you are trading it with options, please be specific about your strike and expiry to help out the group. Some of these have been incredible plays for us. That doesn't mean that they're all going to work, but we said that we would stay on top of these short reports. Big time shout out. We're going to give one-ups to the entire group here. You guys were pounding the table on APP. Steve saying, I brought it up in pre-market. There were multiple short reports on the stock. A company has been alleged to have been stealing data from Meta. Block and Leviton, no relation to our Steve Leviton, are investigating for potential securities law violations. Okay. AppLovin, APP, short report out.
Well, I bet SMCI is loving that they're not the center of attention with that smoke anymore.
You got that right.
As a matter of fact, they're ripping now after putting in a $52 bottom.
And that means that the SMCI levered ETFs also trading back up here. I'm seeing that one on the scanner. Let's take a look at the actual SMCI underlying. I can type it correctly.
Looks like Bitcoin found some more support down near where it was. Well, not down where it was trading yesterday, but the 85,000 handle. This time today it was 85,350. Yesterday it was 85.9.
Real quick here, you versus you saying Jim Cramer said to buy last night. Wait, are you talking about App? Jim Cramer literally said to buy App last night.
That guy is so bad.
Well, I'm almost wondering if at this point, if he goes on Mad Money and says that, and the guys at Fuzzy Panda are like, guys, we are cooking up the short report. We ought to release this tomorrow. I almost wonder if his call kind of helped them decide when they were going to release this report. I'm completely speculating. I have no knowledge of that, to be clear. To Jay Diamond, there's absolutely no manipulation in the stock market. And Fuzzy Panda absolutely is a reputable
source.
None
whatsoever.
Oh, Jay Diamond, the sarcasm. You could cut it with a knife and then butter your bread with it right there.
This is the most legit market ever.
Oh, but we are having some fun with it. SOPA, are you hollering on that one? SOPA plus 16% here. Society Pass. It's actually low volume, but we've seen this stock move.
We've traded this one
in the past. Oh yeah. My cousin turns out to be a senior partner. Steve. Well, I'll tell you what, Steve. Do us a favor. Figure out what the hell's going on. How about that? Lion, I'm buying App. Lion, as I already asked you, if you're buying App, what is the strike and expiry? And if you're buying shares, what is the price? It looks like someone else took that. Ben Davis, App buy 291.67. Ben, thank you, by the way. Appreciate that. So it looks like you're not the only one, Lion.
MACD's starting to crawl. This could recapture VWAP. Maybe it goes up to 350.
Ben. Wait a sec. Let me get that. Let me just make sure that I'm getting Ben. 291.67 was your buy. You are up 14 points off that buy, dude. Did you bottom tick that? No, but that was still awesome. When you trade some of these high dollar stocks, like this thing's not even really coming back, and he's already got a 14-point move in that. That's pretty. Ben, I'm going to give you the register. I don't know if you closed your position, but I'm giving you the register ring because you did exactly what we asked.
Robert, you're absolutely
Lion
right.
Again. Lion, hang on. I don't know what else I need to do. Lion says, I bought a leap call option. Lion, for God's sakes, what is the strike and expiry? For heaven's sakes, man, I've been asking like 6 times. Anyway, you were saying?
Oh, well, no, just laughing at what Robert was saying. Manipulation in the market is impossible. We have heroes at the SEC protecting us. Absolutely. They're doing the Lord's work right there. Heroes in the SEC. That's a sentence. That's a string of words I never thought I'd have to say out loud. Heroes at the SEC.
Hey, Lion, appreciate you, boss. Here we go. So September, that is a leap. Indeed. Well, I guess leaps are generally 12 months more, but nonetheless, this has plenty of time in here. 300 strike expiring in September. That's your APP option buy.
ATCH moving higher. This looking for 745 at this stage. It just broke through 6.
That's ATCH.
Atlas Clear.
By the way, IWM curling might be going back towards the highs there. Thank you, producer. Reminder. YouTube poll closing soon. NVIDIA earnings beat, miss, and in line. Please vote in our poll. You know what? That actually reminds me, producer. I will go vote too.
Oh, appreciate that, Steve. Steve's going to reach out to his cousin to see if he can dig up anything from Apple.
Yeah, I love it. Boots on the ground, baby. That's what we do at this place. Okay. Oh, I can't wait. Definitely tag me when those votes are in, or when that poll closes, producer, and I will read those. I will read those out. I love it.
Wow. SPY ripped right through the 50-day SMA. So let's put a $600 target on that. See if we end up getting there. That just seems like where it wants to go. It wants to head back up to 600.
Yeah, it sure does. It definitely feels like the 600 magnet is out here. And indeed, yesterday's trading action definitely different. The result today also different. Now, I know it's early and it can roll over here, but it's undeniable that the action so far here is different. By the way, you were mentioning that Lunar launch, seeing some calls here for Lunar. 24 calls expiring March 7th.
The day that they actually make touchdown with the moon.
Yeah, that's not, it's not huge either. But it was an aggressive purchase, which is what made it unusual.
I had a nice reversal.
More Amazon calls, by the way. More Amazon calls. Sorry, 13. What was that?
It had a nice reversal candle yesterday, Lunar. Chart still looks pretty bearish, though. So I think the launch could be a sell the news event that takes it down to somewhere between 10 and 12. But this company still, I mean, I think I think it could be a sell the news event on the launch, and maybe it does better once it lands on the moon and doesn't tip over.
Dude, Ben. Okay, so sorry, Ben. Real quick here. Out app 310.21. That was what, 19 points in less than 10 minutes. Ben, well done today, boss. Well done on that. Lion here saying, Ryan, I bought that call. Remember, that was the 300 September. 76, so 7,600. It's now 8,400 per contract, $800 gain in a few minutes. Lion, I know you're still in it, so I probably gave you a register ring a little too prematurely there, but boy, oh boy, you've been killing that exact same setup here. Really good stuff. Really good stuff on that. And thank you, chat, by the way, for shouting that out. Your aura is anything but mid.
All right, let's keep the Gen Z slang to a minimum.
No, man, that's the best commercial on television. I let every time I see it, the boomer dad that is just a complete nerd. Oh my God, every time I see it, I laugh. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. That's sus. It's just my favorite damn thing, dude. It's so funny.
That's what my wife and I have been doing with our kids, is to embarrass them, is just start using their slang. It's been pretty funny.
Do they call you a boomer? Bro, let me cook. By the way, it's so Tesla here. God, I gotta focus. Tesla here losing 300. Watch yesterday's intraday low. Let me go back to the other level that I had there. We'll give that to you again if Tesla weakness continues here.
Jonathan Cooper mentioning ATCH 827 target up, maybe. Actually, I got 835 after we get to 745, so I'm kind of right there with you on that vicinity.
Right here, next downside levels I have here on Tesla: 283.36. That's a fib level, and 277.63. That's your 200-day moving average. If the sell-off continues, it actually does look like maybe this is kind of slowing down here. We do have low RSI or oversold RSI, so maybe we're looking at a potential bounce there on Tesla. TSLA.
Yeah, I think it may have been earlier this week where I was saying Tesla, if it loses 300, I like 280. That's just above the 200-day SMA. Very, very oversold here too. So it would not surprise me if we don't lose a whole lot more from here. But if we happen to, this get like a big move down all of a sudden, I would think that somewhere between 275 and 280 could be where the buyers start to step in again.
Okay.
Millennials forever.
Big B's here. Fear and greed index today, 25 of 100. That is extreme fear. Boy, what's that going to read after NVIDIA's print? What's that going to read after NVIDIA's print? I'm curious. LNTH. Jay, it looks like, man, did you sell at the highs again? A nice move. Maybe it was a 94 handle that you lightened that in. Nonetheless, registering for you on that one. You've been all over Lantheus. Does this pay? This pretty much paid your mortgage and your car for the entire year, didn't it? I mean, this has just been an unbelievable trade for you. And he's been bringing it to our group here. So shout out Rivian here, looking like this is trying to break 12 and go higher. What's going on with this one, Kevin? Nothing fresh. All of these are just stories written by partner links. Interesting. I don't see anything fresh there. Rivian, nice day here. 4%, plus 4%. I didn't see anything come across the unusual option scanner either. Actually, now I'm seeing more Tesla stuff come in here. Mixture of calls and puts. More puts than calls, though. Futu calls. So the China names have actually still continued to have bullish flow. We saw PDD on this earlier today. This guy's asking, does fear represent a buy opportunity? Well, this is one of the reasons why we talk so much about our buy the dippers here, because if this does not break down, I mean, that's obvious. If this does not break down, yeah, this is an incredible buy the dip opportunity. But does that fear greed accurately represent how people feel about this? I'm looking at this and I think buy the dippers are here. I'm actually kind of shocked to see that fear and greed reading so low, to be quite honest with you. Lion, I will look, man. I already promised you, and I will live up to my end of the bargain because I'm a man of my word. I will continue to bring you the short reports. I actually can't even take credit for it today. The chat was out screaming app. I just verified the news for you. But we'll continue to bring those to you. I know you love that. Ben, once again, I know several of you traded this. So really good stuff here. App right back to the close. It actually did go to the VWAP. It looks like. I'll tell you what. If this doesn't break if this does not break the VWAP, that trade was almost perfect. Honestly, you almost bottom ticked it and you almost top ticked it, and that is about as good as it gets. So.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to look around for some opportunities here. It seems like a lot of everything that we were looking at this morning is kind of going sideways now. Maybe
except
Mullins,
ATCH, which is holding higher here.
Yeah, I mean, still waiting for Mullen to maybe make a move back to VWAP or do something. Do something, poking it with a stick. SYTA just been sideways. ENVB also pretty much sideways. Not able to recapture the consolidation in the morning. Don't know how much more we're going to get out of those, but you could see one of those, whales just all of a sudden come in and just buy a whole bunch of stock and rip this thing up, just like we saw earlier. So I think that was in TRNR. We saw that in.
Looking around here real quick. Oh, day trader. Hey.
Yep. That's the other thing, C-Spot. We just hit that 1030, so could start to see a real big slowdown in price action with these names. Looks like Mullen's still trying for 4, though.
Day trader, love that you were. Hi, buddy. Love that you have tweeted out more of your trading plans here. I did retweet your initial one. Nice little follow up on that. I didn't see that here until we were already live. Hood getting mentioned here. ATCH pulling back. Watch this VWAP here, 622 on ATCH. Boy, that's kind of a nasty pullback there.
Mm-hmm. Got as high as 725.
Yep.
About 20 cents short of that level I was marked off there. TRNR back down to the pre-market consolidation. So maybe you start to see some buyers step in. Maybe. Oh man, if Mullins captures 4, This is starting to get going. If it captures 4, it might run to VWAP. Jeez.
Good old Mullen. God, look at ENVB. The only good upside trade there was that rush out of the gate. The volume is totally dried up. This thing has taken multiple legs lower. Can't get above its VWAP.
Everybody just kind of waiting for NVIDIA, which is up almost 3.5% today.
Actually, you know what? Shame on me. I don't think I've looked at NVIDIA enough since the market has opened here. And actually, just a quick look here. S&P futures holding here at about 598 and change. It does look like it's going to try and make another run at 6,000 here. S&P futures here, 6,000, the E-mini, or the ES here, excuse me, 6,014. Guess I should be a little bit more clear if I'm quoting SPY or S&P futures values.
So SPY,
go ahead. Sorry.
SPY coming down off of the 50-day SMA, moved over it briefly. Now losing it. So, I'm just still kind of in wait and see mode with this. But yeah, as Lionel was saying, it's all going to come down to NVIDIA earnings, and for me, I think they could definitely beat on their earnings, but I still question if their guidance will be to the investors' liking. Did you happen to check that video out that I sent you?
You know what? I didn't. I'm sorry. There was an incredible docket of television on last night, and I did no homework at all. And last I checked, you're not my teacher, so I'm okay admitting that here without being mad. But I will watch that. I am interested in that, and I've actually seen a video from that. Can I share that with the group, 13, or no?
Sure, if you want. It's that's a big gaming nerd that has a lot of subscribers talking about the RTX 5000 series graphics cards, and just kind of really hammering NVIDIA on how could they let such problems that they're having with these cards get past quality assurance. He really just hammered home a lot of great points. And I think the things that he was saying is something to consider when it comes to what NVIDIA is doing. Because if they're I don't know that it really makes a lot of sense for me to get into it. Just watch the video and you make the decision for yourself.
Yeah, no, I first of all, I love that you shared it with me. I'm sorry that I haven't watched it already. I will definitely watch this here today. I've actually seen videos by this gentleman in the past. He does make really good content. And look, the workshop that he has in his room, very clear that he is a in-depth computer nerd there. And I mean that endearingly as a positive, just to be clear. But no, I have not watched it. I will watch that here today. I was watching my Blackhawks last night, unfortunately lose, and I was watching Oak Island. They started to push some cans into the ground. So excited about that. Also TGL. By the way, Wiss, what do you think of TGL? I think that slaps. I know there seems to be people on both sides how good TGL is. I love it. I love hearing the golfers talk to each other too. Okay, you guys, poll results are in for NVIDIA. Poll results in for NVIDIA. Thank you again for voting in our poll here. NVIDIA earnings, your three choices were beat, miss, in line. 61% of you say that NVIDIA is going to beat. Remember, this is the number itself, not what the trading action is. We can't control that. You guys think NVIDIA is going to beat. 21% of you think it's going to be in line, and 16% of you think that they're actually going to miss, post a negative number. I would imagine those people have to be in some type of short instrument. If you think the video is going to post a negative number, that would be trouble. Watch it post a negative number and trade higher, and just I have to come up here doing a mea culpa again tomorrow. That would suck.
Yeah. So Mullen did get a little bit into the four handle, and then it pulled. Not up to VWAP. Some of those other ones still didn't end up coming back either. SYTA, ENVB. As a matter of fact, ENVB looks like it's about to break down.
Getting a push here. SPY, NASDAQ, Netflix. Just pretty much every stock I looked at looked like it was turning up there.
So had a pretty good open, but things really started to weaken pretty fast.
Are you shocked at that?
Not really.
Me either, because it seems like every time that we have any type of green arrows in the morning, we have this type of malaise in the regular session.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too, Big B's. You're just getting good scalps, but it's not a nice ride. We're these are some really short taxi rides we're taking to Greenland. So I kind of feel you there that maybe being in and out a little bit more quickly or not at all might be the way to go.
By the way, here, potential bros setup. So bros, remember we had that huge earnings pop. We actually did have a very, very brief floating island, but the market basically took this thing over. You can see we lost 81.50, and we're trying to actually bounce here. Here's what I'll say. If this bounce really can't recapture this 81.50, wherever this thing stops, you might be okay reloading this for another short play for a gap fill down here to 65. Just throwing that out there. This is definitely something that I've got on my watch list. No trade yet or no position yet, buddy. What on earth are you doing?
Yeah, I think it's really starting to make sense just to wait for the NVIDIA print and then trade what happens afterwards.
Yeah. Bros, having a good day today. I actually saw some puts get bought into this move higher here. Ticker BROS. Mullen. All right, we made a dash towards that VWAP. Couldn't quite do it, but now we're on to the second here. Let's see if Mullen can get to that VWAP. 22 cents away.
It's got some work to do, at around 4:30 and around 4:45.
There it is. I was going to say they just tried there.
For 4:55 for the VWAP. Sorry.
Ivan here. On Amazon unveils Alexa Plus, a Gen AI powered assistant that plans, books, and remembers preferences. Also not listed there, but the other thing that it does is it knows where you are in your house, what you're doing. It can see you and hear you. Be sure you're okay with that. I still haven't made the move to Alexa. I don't need recording devices all over my house. F that.
Yeah. What did Apple do when they announced improvements to Siri? I feel like that could be a very similar reaction. I don't think the current voice assistants that they have. I feel like you'd need a new name or a new brand, because I think that there's the things that people didn't like about what they currently have, like with Siri and with Alexa. I don't know that they're necessarily going to like with the same name that with a plus next to it. They might want to look at a completely new assistant AI and leave this one behind, just because, especially Siri. I don't think Siri was ever really great.
Neither do I. Calming voice, but didn't really help a whole lot. Sebastian with the jokes, all of the jokes, by the way. It's probably better that Alex is not recording you.
Ivan, no, we're thankful that you brought this to our attention. I don't want to kill the messenger at all. Well, is ATCH still in the same halt from earlier? It looks like it is.
The halt earlier came from 1032. And yes, this was right back down to the VWAP. So what we're expecting this to open in 2 minutes. ATCH, 2 minutes.
All right.
By the way, one more thing I wanted to show you here on the IWM, which we were talking about here. Let's go to the IWM chart. Here's one of the things to keep in mind today. I actually am watching the IWM intraday chart here. We tested the 200-day to the upside, 218.57. A close above this, look, this is going to mark a real quick recapture of this 200-day. I don't know how you folks feel, but if IWM, I'll be as specific as I can. If IWM closes above 218.57 here today, I gotta think that is a bullish formation. Have to. Wouldn't be shocked if 220. Izzy, I'll tell you what. I'll make you a deal. If this thing looks like it's going to recapture 218.57 at the close here, I'll probably add some of this, hold it overnight, and see if we make a move towards that 50 starting tomorrow. Swing this one overnight. This is one of the things I'm going to be watching for on IWM. Did I say Amazon? I think I mixed up some tickers there. I'm sorry about that. It happens.
I would want to see a recapture the 200 first. I feel like the price action we may end up getting with the IWM is that we see trading over it, the 200-day SMA, but we don't close above it. That's what I'm going to be watching for. We need to close over this 200-day SMA before I'm going to get excited about more upside.
And that's my trigger. All right. So here's the setup: 200-day recapture. Trigger is going to be a close above that. I won't know until the end of the day here today. Mark, by the way, Mark, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you because you made money, and that to me is what is most important here. But Mark is up on Mullen. Mark, just make sure you don't give that back. That's all I ask. Please. Alexa will be moving out of my house if Amazon decides to charge a fee for her. Fair? Ryan, thank you. I need to buy you a fat dinner for app. It keeps moving higher at $3.19. Yo, one way to my heart is definitely through my stomach. You will not get an argument from me if you want to buy me a steak dinner. Can we get some red wine with that?
Yeah, I also tell him the type of red wine so he knows, but because I'm curious too. But Gary Frost, ENVB, that's also still trying to recover, trying to make its way back up to 3. At the same time, SYTA, that one went lower, and Mullen is still mulling whether or not it's going to go higher or not. But it looks like it's starting to put in some of those upper shadows that may indicate it's trying to go lower. So we'll see what happens with Mullen. Be careful with that one. ENVB, though, this one's trying to really make that move for a recapture of 3. A lot of consolidation up there at 3 as well from the pre-market.
It's right at that 65 EMA on the 5 too. It's trying to break it, snap it, and close that gap up to 321.
Yep. Well, not a bad morning. I mean, considering that we didn't have a whole lot of really big movers on our hands, we did get a good number of them still.
You know what I was worried about, honestly, 13? I was worried that today everyone's excited, right? Everyone's waiting for this event. It's hump day or dump day, right? It's one of those two. And I thought, I could see a scenario where today's just kind of blah and boring as everyone waits out the NVIDIA print. But so far here, that's not what we've got. We've got plenty of action, and I think the biggest piece of action is still to come in the after hours.
Yeah.
By the way, Eli Lilly, their CEO, is on CNBC right now talking about the ZEP-bound pricing. The reason I bring this up is because Eli Lilly has been a kind of a really good trade for our group here. And this recently has kind of come in. We actually look like we're trying to take out this double top up here about 965-ish. I can't hear what he's saying. Stock is trading higher here. We got Lilly CEO on CNBC, David Faber, doing the interview.
Yeah, very extended RSI. Not the highest it can go. I mean, it's been higher before, but just really getting up there into the overbought territory. So be careful with this one. I would say I just don't like with how maybe buying it at the end of this run that it's had. I think that a lot of the meat has been gnawed off the bone already.
Fairchild says you come home and Alexa's chatting it up with your cat, and they stopped abruptly as soon as they see you. Oh, you want to talk about paranoia? Don't even need to go there. Don't even need to go there. Lion says, I hope I can meet you guys one day. I'll say this. I can't speak for 13. He's his own man. But I am always open to meeting the community wherever I travel, wherever I go. And you can ask several members of the community. I've actually already done that multiple times. I'll do it again. I'd like to meet all of you folks.
Great call on Mullen. That just pushed right through VWAP. I don't know if it'll hold. As far as meeting, I don't know where we would do it, but I always thought that going to the Benzinga headquarters in Detroit was a fun experience, and that would be where I would want to maybe try and do it, because then everybody, you get to see everybody that's working behind the scenes, and you get to see how all the gears move.
The other thing I think is really cool about that is that Detroit really is kind of going through a renaissance. Detroit was once a fabulous city, and I know it caught a really bad rap with some of the crime going on downtown and the abandoned buildings, the whole 9 yards. But let me tell you something. at least over the last, it's not just an isolated incident either. Over the last several years, Detroit is awesome. It's fun to go there, especially if you're not from there. They've really done a great job revitalizing, yet still preserving some of the old school history. Like you can walk around the streets of Detroit, and there are multiple places that have like speakeasies, like no BS. You pull like a candlestick on the wall and a door slides open. Like it's badass. There's a lot of really cool stuff up there. I don't know if we're gonna do any type of company type meetup. If we do, I will of course inform you guys. But I'm just talking about my own personal self. Even when I'm off the clock, I'm still up for meeting you folks.
Producer got it right on. Ever since that RoboCop was deployed, that city's really been turning around.
Was that Nightscope? was that the one? KSCP, right? Was that it?
No, I'm just mentioning the producer from Benzinga here.
No, I know the robot police.
Oh.
Nightscope makes those robotic police officers.
Oh, I don't.
And I'm not talking about Nightscope. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. And by the way, so speaking of police officers, all jokes aside here, every time I go to Detroit, I walk around downtown during the day and at night. There's cops. It's not like it doesn't look like a military event or anything. The draft did. There were actually snipers on the road for the draft, but that's neither here nor there. There are cops just kind of around, and every one of them is friendly and helpful. I haven't come across a single cop that has really kind of been giving anyone any shit in Detroit. They all seem helpful and happy. That's anecdotal, but it is what it is.
ENVB just pushed over 3. This one's still looking like it's going to curl, maybe even try for VWAP. Just keep in mind that consolidation from pre-market has to chew through all that. We're starting to come up into that at just into the 3 to 320 area. The highs in the pre-market, just as a reminder, 355, which is that level's above VWAP right now. Yeah, I'd buy that for $1. Oh man, so many great quotes out of that movie too.
Which one?
RoboCop.
Oh, RoboCop. Okay,
oh,
yeah,
yeah.
No,
I'm still on RoboCop.
That's not one. I'll be honest with you. I've got some pretty good quotable older movies. I am not a RoboCop guy. Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, I'll
we need to have a party in the summer, like in Florida or Tennessee. So I'll see if I can arrange that.
Here, I'll send you another quote that always cracks me up. Just don't read it.
I won't.
Out loud, because not appropriate for the stream.
NSFW, not safe for work. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. I tell you, we got a lot of RoboCop fans here. It seems.
Oh man, it's one of the
fly, Bobby.
Jeez, there's so many good ones. You're taking me back, guys. All right, so Mullen still holding above its VWAP. That could be a good sign for more upside. Maybe we see 6.
And building. It's actually building. It's back and forth above its VWAP. PRCH might make another run at the 536 VWAP for another trade to the upside if that can get above. We have some pretty clear targets above there too. 588, and I'd even put 565 on there.
Oh, wow. Thanks, chat, for kind of making my morning here with all the RoboCop quotes. I think I'll have to go and watch that at some point.
I'll tell you what, I'll see if I can get that on Amazon Prime just so I can join you guys. You guys look like you're having fun with that.
Yeah.
TEM is pushing. That's, of course, Tempest AI. This is also one of those Momo names that really kind of got sacked.
Yeah, how did this end up looking on the daily? Oh, yeah. So this lost about, a third of its price before rebounding right down to the 65 EMA on the daily.
Yeah, this pulled back 39.32% from its highs. That's actually a pretty healthy pull. Oh, Rustam, you might not even be there anymore. Oh, I owe him. But really quickly, sorry, I totally just thought diarrhea right there. Did you have something you wanted to finish up here on TEM?
Just real quick, I would be looking at somewhere between 68 and 70 for potential areas of resistance. But go ahead.
68 and 78.
No, 68 and 70.
So, excuse me, 68 and 70. Okay, so that's pretty much right in here, and that also encompasses the 20-day moving average.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure you watch the original, not the remake. Yeah, Matt, I would. I will always start doing that. I actually just watched Terminator over the weekend, and one of the thoughts that I had is this movie is always good. It doesn't matter that it's 40 plus years old.
Oh, the thought that I had when I watched it recently with my kid is like, oh my God, they predicted so much.
Yeah.
The drones at the beginning, the Lego flying ships, I was like, oh, they have those now.
Yep.
So, oh man, James Cameron was really ahead of his time.
I wanted to take a look at NBIS. Rustam was asking earlier, and I put it on the list here. We hit every stock except NBIS and TTD. I think did we get CellH? I can't remember. Anyway, I'm sorry that we didn't do that. Rustam, I hope he's here still. If not, we can always kind of come back here. I know Story Trading, which comes up here in 8 minutes, they've been trading NBIS. Lion earmuffs, but Godfather has absolutely been all over this one. Really good job by their group here on NBIS. Nonetheless, here we basically pulled from the 200 to the 50, and now we're trying to bounce. So some key levels here to observe on NBIS. You got the 20-day moving average there, 38.15, and you have that very, very clear 39 resistance level. If we can get above that, I do think we probably make another run at the 200-day. Now, a lot of that's going to have to depend on the market and falling apart. And remember, NBIS is almost certainly going to be one of those that's going to move at least in some degree after this NVIDIA print that we get later today.
Yeah, for me, NBIS, I want to see this get back up over 40. I think that one of the things that could be happening here, being that this is a company that was formerly in Russia before they went off the exchange and moved operations out. With the way things have been going with the U.S.-Russia talks and reestablishing diplomacy and maybe even economic relationships, this could end up being one that moves off of that. So I think there might be an element in there with improving U.S.-Russia relations that could help lift this stock. What do you think?
Sorry, I was handling something here for work. 13. I apologize.
Oh, no worry. I was just
I'm sorry.
Kind of linking the improving U.S.-Russia relations with potential movement in NBIS, being this is a former Russian.
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we were worried about was, are they going to be able to get some of that cash hoard that they had that came from Russian operations? And I think to your point there about any type of better relationship, I think that's all positive for NBIS.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that one. Let me just finish this up here real quick.
No problem. This guy also mentioning Demolition Man. That was a pretty good one. They got almost nothing right with their predictions, though. I know you could probably make an argument for a couple of them, but I don't really see Los Angeles turning into San Angeles and turning into some kind of utopia, I guess we'll call it.
And no offense, no offense to everyone.
10 years.
No offense to anyone here. I also don't ever think that I'm calling BS on the having sex being a headset and a virtual experience. I know there's stories about robots and all that. I'm just going to call BS on that until I'm wrong. I call it my own bias. I want to believe that that's not the way things go. Just throwing it out there, not trying to offend anybody.
Well, I don't think you'll offend any of the newer generations that probably look at that and go, "Hey, that's definitely coming." Look at, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Meta wants that to happen with their Quest headsets.
Oh my God!
I kid.
I know. Martin says, "I'll go around Detroit and look for AB. You'll find him."
Fairchild with the quote of the day: "Don't get it started on the 3 seashells."
Okay.
That was great. That was one of the.
Where's the toilet paper? All I saw in there were these 3 seashell things.
He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells. Oh my God, that was probably the best part about the movie. Just that it never got explained. They just kept making fun of him for not knowing how to do it. Oh God.
Maybe they didn't need to explain that.
Well, that's the best part about it. It kind of leaves everybody's imagination to wonder and think about what it actually did.
Which is probably why we're talking about it here in 2025. Real quick, I'm seeing Ouch Mullen. What's going on?
Yeah. Oh, it got absolutely destroyed.
Okay, but nobody here got hurt, right? Because we talked about how dangerous this was, and we joked and we laughed. Then we reminded you about the seriousness of it, right? Nobody got hurt by this, right?
I'm not in it.
I'm asking rhetorically. I actually didn't expect an answer.
I mean, if you were in it, I at least hope you had your stops ready. Looked like it was trying to go for 6, but here we are getting that broadsword. Same thing happened with the NVB too. That also took out the last 2 candles as well, but that's still not down and out, but certainly being handed its hat.
The internet has some thoughts about the shells. That might be something to look into here. Vanessa, you were asking about AIFF Crow. I appreciate you answering that question here. This was one that we recently traded. I don't know what's really going to kind of turn this thing around. They had a multi-day move after, what was the news here again on February 11th? Let me check out what that news was. It was NVIDIA Connect program, right? Just want to make sure I got that correct. Yes, February 11th. Yes, Firefly Neuroscience accepted into the NVIDIA Connect program. So, Crow, I know you said you were waiting for a run to 7 here. We've actually seen that sometimes these things make an impulse move. They fall out of favor for a few days and then they light up again here. AIFF only $1 away from that $7 target. But remember, I said earlier, it's possible that any of these stocks that had connections to NVIDIA end up making some type of movement in sympathy with whatever happens this evening. And AIFF would fit into that.
We're going to ask about PayPal, and it says it keeps going down. Any news? Well, on the technical side, it did lose its 200-day SMA, so that could be leading to some weakness. But from what I understand is that their guidance hasn't been the greatest, and they don't expect a real big boost to Venmo until I think they're targeting 2027. So I think just a number of comments they had made, their outlook wasn't as it may not have been up to expectations of investors. You also have some management changes here too. Looks like they just appointed a new CFO. So
go ahead, sir.
No, just several things there.
Real quick, the other thing here is this 75 level. This is a key level that we have identified here on PayPal. We actually lost that too in conjunction with the 200-day. It is worth mentioning we finally filled that gap down here. So maybe this kind of turns around. We've got a gap fill. We've got a break through the 200-day. We have a low RSI print here now. This does have the makings of a potential rebound here. One of the things I would like to see for a long side swing trade would be a quick recapture. And what I mean by that is a close back above the 200-day here in the next, this week, right? Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday this week. Let's recapture that. Let's turn that into a support level. And then let's talk about some maybe levels higher here. I'd love to be able to swing this thing up towards the 50. Got that at 84.5. We got a possible gap fill up here to 86.5. So I'd love for PayPal to actually trigger. The setup's there. We got to wait for that trigger. Okay, folks, it is 11 o'clock, which means it's time for the story trading guys. They have been doing awesome. We're going to bring them back on 13. Got any closing words for the group here before we do that?
I just appreciate all the great discipline and the good times with talking about all these old movies that we don't really get to see anymore because they keep coming up with garbage. So anyway, folks, Well, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Keep a swivel on for those NVIDIA earnings, and they might really cause some great things or bad things to happen with the market. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll break it all down after it happens. I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care, 13. Really good stuff here today. 13's departure, of course, leaves room for Ben and Rhett from Story Trading. Let's bring them on. Ben, Rhett, the opening question I get, first of all, how are you guys?
Doing awesome. I am absolutely, market's good. I'm good. We're at pretty much, I'm a couple dollars away from a high in my account for the year. So
you're going to get a registering for that. The question of the day, though, do you folks like RoboCop?
The movie?
Yeah, the original.
The original. I mean, sure, it was fun. RoboCop.
Okay, we were the only reason I know it seems like a random question. You're kind of like, what the hell is this guy doing here? We were actually just talking about RoboCop here earlier, having some fun there. So, okay, good stuff. Seems like everyone kind of likes RoboCop. Here's your screen. Guys, what are you looking at here today? What are you doing ahead of these NVIDIA earnings tonight?
We're just killing it. We were positioned so well. We saw the market downturn coming on Friday and Monday. So we avoided all that. We're high cash levels, a little bit of hedge, and we're basically ready to pounce and take advantage of stuff like this. Riding up hood calls since yesterday, added more hood calls today. ASTS was my largest position coming into the day, up 13%. Axon, added this to my retirement account for the earnings report, up 17%. I mean, it's just great. We're very happy right now.
Okay, absolutely amazing. Also, ticker APP. I don't know if you saw that short
I heard
report
about
from
it.
Fuzzy
I
Panda.
did.
Our chat
Yeah.
has been crushing it. We are 40
nice.
some
Look at that.
points off the low there.
Oh,
So, all right,
that's
gents,
amazing.
Nice,
good
good
luck.
job.
Good luck here today. I'll catch you here in about a half hour.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Sounds good. So Godfather's not with us today. He had some other obligations. It's going to be Rhett and I. And man, Rhett, you've been killing it with those the macro predictions I made on IWM QQQ. How's your account doing since, I guess, Thursday morning or Wednesday?
Since Thursday, I was up 17%, but as of today, I'm well over 21%. So
Up 21% in the past
since
4
Thursday.
days.
Yep.
Which has been a bloodbath and unbelievable. So we
I mean,
totally
anyone
nailed it.
that would have listened to the analysis video that you gave out Sunday night, I mean, you could have crushed it. I could have done way better. Like each trade I made from Thursday till now, each trade I've taken, I've left anywhere from 40 to 60% on the table for
Awesome.
not letting it ride and being on the conservative side. Like today, I took our top pick of the day, ASTS. I took that for a 40% win on some call contracts. So,
well, look, I enjoy these periods. When the market goes down, that's your chance to outperform. Okay, because everyone can make money when the markets are going up. But what you got to do when you're executing, you got to make sure to limit your drawdowns when the market pulls back. And if you can make a profit when the market pulls back like you did, right, even better. But when you can limit your drawdowns, right, when you limit your drawdowns when the market pulls back, two great things happen. Number one, you have capital to be there to buy all those dips. And number two, you're in the proper psychological state to be able to participate on those dips, right? I mean, if you're like down 30, 40%, which a lot of people probably are between Wednesday and the close yesterday, then you don't have a lot of capital and you're psychologically very stressed and it's hard to stay in the trade or it's hard to add, so that's what we've been advising our community. And these are the times, because when you limit your drawdowns when everyone else is down and you're there to capitalize, that's when you really outperform. That becomes the difference at the end of the day, at the end of the year, when you look at your final performance versus everyone else. These are the moments. Limit your drawdowns when the market goes down and you're going to crush everyone else's performance. And we just did a great job of that, I got to say.
Yeah, I agree. And not only that, I feel like it helps you out a lot mentally too. I mean, you have a clear headspace when you're trading during these volatile times. So it's really helping significantly, especially being in a high cash position the past couple of days.
Yeah. Now, we do have NVIDIA earnings tonight. And at this point, look, I mean, I pretty much predicted this to the T so far. Sunday morning, I predicted QQQ would see a range of 500 to 510. 500 to 510 prior to NVIDIA earnings. We hit the top of that range, 509.44. And my thought process here is that would be the range before NVIDIA earnings. And then you get, depending on where you are, if you're like at the bottom of that range, if you're in the 500, in that range, 500 to 510, then you can see a relief rally after NVIDIA, as long as the NVIDIA earnings are okay. Okay, so that was the play, 500 to 510, and then a relief rally. We're getting a relief rally now ahead of the earnings. So, however, now, if NVIDIA comes in and their guidance is bad, then look out below, and your new range for QQQ is 490 to 500. 490 to 500 is going to be, let's say, and then it depends, like a mid case where, it's not great, whatever, like 500 to 5, where it's bad, but not the end of the world, 500 to 510. But that range from 490 all the way to 510 is back in play in QQQ if you get bad guidance from NVIDIA. But so far, I pretty much predicted this to the T, and we are ready, and we are taking advantage of all these pops now today. So it's beautiful. All right. Let's go to our top list here. Axon. I tried a quick trade in this today. Actually, believe it or not, I lost money trading this today, but very little. It was a tiny size, and I just bailed on it quickly because everything else was killing it, like Hood and Axe. I was making money everywhere. I'm like, why do I want to bother? Why do I want to bother watching Axon? Trying to make a comeback. I'm like, whatever. I have it in my retirement account. Bought it yesterday. Took some shavings off on this 18% pop. I got like 2 retirement accounts, one like ultra long term and then one's kind of a swing. So on that swing account, took some profits. So Axon overall worked out great. Again, a little bit of a execution miss in my trade account today, but I didn't care. It was a matter of focus for me. So I can focus on our big winners, ASTS and Hood, the 2 big winners of the day for me so far. And Hood keeps moving. Wow. Look at the beauty of one of the things that we talk about so much in our community is allocation, proper allocation size. Now, when I give trade ideas, as often as I can, I also put what percentage of what allocation it is. Like if I'm buying 5% common stock or 10%, whatever it is, or if I get some call options, I'll be like 0.2%, whatever it is. I put as often as I can. It's hard to always do it, but also at the end of the day, I put my allocation levels. So Hood was one of the rare mistakes. I mean, I got to say, out of all the stock predictions we've made so far in 2025 in these 2 months, you can probably count on one hand how many were wrong. And you need how many were right? It's probably in the dozens. And one of the ones that were wrong was Hood. Post ER Hood, I was expecting this to consolidate for a day or two and then explode past 67 to new highs. Even when I saw the market weakness coming at the end of last week, I still did not expect it to get hit bad this hard. And the fact that it did get hit this hard was one of the reasons I was negative on QQQ coming into this week, because Hood is a quality company that was breaking down below key moving averages. So that was a sign that the indices were in trouble. But where I started with this conversation was we were wrong on Hood, but the allocations, I was doing it via call options. The allocations were properly sized, like 0.5% of my account or whatever it was. 1%. When I do an individual, like I do no more than 3. If I'm like super bullish, like it will be like 3% max, like 3.5%. Like when I was in Geo and we killed Geo, I was like 3.5% calls. Same thing with ASTS. When we killed it, I was like 3.5% of my entire account in calls. So Hood, I was like 0.5%, maybe 0.67% in calls, and we were wrong. So when I got washed out on those and all those went to worthless, I was in a psychological state, and I also had the capital to say, all right, now we bounced off. It wasn't just the 50 DMA. When I gave the alert, we basically called the bottom yesterday, right here, the top of this candle. See this? 43.83. So 43.83, you got that too. You came in with me.
Yeah, I came in, but I sold them yesterday. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm leaving so much on the table.
I sold half of them yesterday. I still have the other half, and then this morning I bought $50 calls expiring this week, which I haven't sold any of yet. So, but in any case, I had the capital and the site and in a psychological position to say, I'll try again. Let's go back to the well, because it didn't break me, right? I was only down 0.5% on this trade. So now killing it. We're killing it on Hood over here. And look at this low RSI. Look, we're back into this range. I think 53 to 55 is the target. But you need a little bit of you need NVIDIA not to shit the bed. If everything's off the table. If NVIDIA has a terrible guidance, I'm not predicting that they will, but just let's be realistic, lay it all out there. If they do, then QQQ is going to tank, and everything will tank back below these key moving averages, even though you have low RSI. So I will be taking some Hood off the table here today before the end of the day. All right. And ASTS, my largest position coming into the day today, up 13%. This has been beautiful. Now it's going up for a different reason than why we bought. We bought here, was it on February 24th? It must have been 2 days ago that we bought, right? It wasn't yesterday, right? It was 2 days ago.
It was 2 days ago, correct. On Monday.
It was 2 days ago on Monday when the news came out, and actually worked on Monday. You can see the open red candle. One of the few stocks that actually closed better than it opened on Monday, because late morning, I don't know exactly what time it came out.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. The news we were waiting for, the Verizon and AT&T confirming that the demo worked. And one of them, I think it was AT&T, actually put the video demo out. Maybe the Verizon one's out there also, but I didn't see it. and we're waiting for that to re-enter. We killed ASTS. This is probably my biggest winner of 2025. Called the bottom at $18. That was crazy, and we rode it. Most of our community rode this thing for
all the way.
I mean, all the way to like $30. I mean, that was crazy. And then the plan was we took some off the table, took a lot off the table. In fact, I think I was completely out. And then we got that pullback. And my trigger was when the Verizon, we knew the timing. We said it's going to be late February. When that demo comes out, we buy again, basically, no matter the price. That's what we did. It didn't work for 2 days. Then we're up today. It didn't work for 2 days, I think, because of the pressure of the market. And now today, market relief, but also $43 million contract with the Space Development Agency is helping to move this up. So ASTS, Hood, top gainers of the day for myself and probably also for a lot of people in the community. Rhett, what else? Let's see here.
It was SKYT. I actually profited off that. Took it up.
I did not yet. I didn't sell any yet. So SKYT, my initial entry was 1020, and we're here at 1020. But I averaged up. On SkyT. This is not a company that I know really. I mean, I know of it because I have a colleague. Look, sometimes you got to lean on your colleagues. That's what I'm doing here. My colleague has a few stocks that he's an expert in, and this is one of them. He's been following them for many years. He's always on all the conference calls. And this morning he contacted me. His like game-changing acquisition this company made here. Skywater to acquire Infineon's Austin fab and establish strategic partnership to expand U.S. foundry capacity. Yada, yada. Take a look at that. So this initially worked for me, but I added a 1020, but then I averaged up. It was doing great. Common shares and call options. Now we pull back. So now I'm red on SkyT. I don't have enough knowledge about this to have an independent evaluation, just leaning on my colleagues' analysis on SkyT. So not gonna say much more here, except technically you have resistance at 11 to 1150. All right, the 11 is the candle resistance. It overshot it a little bit today, came back, and then 1150 at the 50 DMA. That's SkyT. Let me know if there's any comments or questions in there. But next, let me talk about
Someone's
PBI.
asking how we can join the community. I believe you can just scan that QR code right up there, and it should take you to the link. Or go to storytrading.com/Discord. Let me try.
Yeah,
it works.
There you go. Storytrading.com/Discord. So PBI here is actually, I think, as of this moment, I think is my largest position in my retirement account. Hold on. Oh, yeah. I took it up to the next level. Whoa. I kept buying and buying and buying. Oh, my gosh. I got a 980 average. It's my largest position. And look at this outperformance, guys. Market's coming in, and this thing keeps pressing for new highs. It might get another new high today. Very strong today. PBI, an earnings re-rating play over here. Continuing to do very well. But not only is it an earnings re-rating play, it is now a Trump trade because increasing chatter and speculation about the government privatizing or partially privatizing USPS. And if they do that, who benefits the most? Which private company? You guessed it, Pitney Bowes, PBI. If that happens, this stock's going over $20. All right. So that's part of the reason why you're seeing the relative strength in PBI. That is looking really good. Man, I am regretting this. This I put in the Discord. I'm like, I don't care. I'll take a loss on Axon because I'm making money everywhere else. I don't want to sit here and worry about this thing coming back and look at it go. Unbelievable. Up 18%. I'm glad I kept a nice tranche in my retirement account, though. Okay, you can't want them all. So beauty. Oh, all right. Let's see. ASTS, Hood, PBI. Oh, Geo has earnings tomorrow morning, and I may have to revisit. Let me just check my allocations on Geo in my trade account. In my trade account, I got a 1% position in 2650 calls. Did he just go on mute? Redstone. Okay. I have a 1% position on 2650 calls. And what is this? Actually, I have another 0.6% position in 2650 calls next week. So 1.6% position little aggressive, but guess what? You know, why am I willing to be that aggressive? Because I made a covered call spread out of it, sold $32 calls against it for really good money. So already, I mean, that's just beautiful. In fact, I might be able to buy that back for pennies. Let me just see here what we're at now on that. Yeah, I mean, there's no bid on them. I tried buying them back the other day. Let me see. Let me see if I can buy them back at a nickel right now, if it'll let me do it. So anyway, placing that order in. So made some good money shorting the 32s against my long 2650s. So 1.5% allocation, but really it was more like 0.5%, you know, given the money we're getting from the 32s. Earnings tomorrow morning, you know the thesis. If you're part of the Discord community, I think they're going to be beautiful and wonderful, especially the conference call is going to be great. You fellows trade root. I see it in your watch list. Been a quite quiet creeper. Yeah, I do trade root. There it is. Okay, so this one, since the earnings report, I've had a core position in my retirement account. Okay, I grabbed it in pre-market there, so like $70, $80, something like that. And then it was a great first day, and then it was terrible. I mean, it's just been a roller coaster. Recently, when it went into those 140s, I did sell 1/3 of my position up there in the 140 range. We pulled back here. I have not added back what I sold at 140 plus. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I will. Lemonade had a bad report this morning, or was it last night? And
isn't this with Carvana too? And they've been
they are. Yeah. And then that also it went under pressure since the Carvana earnings report. Although I didn't listen to the call. In fact, those charts look very similar. So yeah, earnings are tonight, and you know, I was expecting this thing to have a great earnings report and then a move towards 200. But then I looked at the analyst estimates and I saw they were forecasting. There's two analysts and they both are forecasting a loss for this quarter. And I was surprised. I'm like, wait a second, that's not my thesis. My thesis was inflected to profitability, and they're just going to grow sequentially from here. And I did some math on that. That's how I came up with the 150 target. But apparently there's some concern by the analysts that they're going to have to increase their advertising spend. And, you know, that could mean they're not going to be profitable this quarter. So when I saw that, I'm not buying back what I sold at 140. I still have 2/3 of my full position at this moment, but I might actually pare that down. And just see how they report. And if they have a great report, then buy back higher. I do that all the time. I have no problem buying things back higher after it's de-risked. So in any case, that's the story with a root. Man, this Axon, crazy. All right. So what else we got? Katos has earnings tonight. Something I think should have a good report. Okay, getting back to our entry price. I bought this in pre-market at $25.44 as a trade idea in our community today, and thinking that it would have a nice big green day in anticipation of earnings. It's 11:20 a.m. and it's only up 1.2%, pushing high of day though. So Katos, let's see, very oversold. I like the sector they're in with the drones. So we'll see. And then we got Snow earnings tonight, which I'm very interested in. I own the shares long term. I don't yet have a trade position in it because the call options are freaking expensive, Rhett.
Yeah, they're crazy expensive.
So
I found
which
one.
one? Yeah, which one? I'll look at it now.
I think it was like April, but the deltas on all of them are horrible. I mean,
it was
the risk to reward on those are not bad though. I think
which
they were
one? April 17th. April 17th,
I
probably.
believe so. The 220s, you got to look at those.
April 17th, 220s. They're, I guess, call it $2, $1.90. So let's just go back.
I added them to my watch list to see.
I mean, you'd have to go. What was it? $2. So 220.
Even if we make a move to, let's say, 170 now. If we make a move to 180, 190, those are going to be anywhere from $400 to $600 contract. So it's not a bad return. That's very.
And it gives you till April. Okay.
April,
I think I'm gonna take those. All right. So April, I'm gonna do it right after the show. April 17th was it? Snow 220. All right. And again, in our Discord, we always say allocation, allocation, allocation. That's the first rule. If I'm doing like options like this, it's going to be, this is a complete lotto. It's probably 0.25% of my account value, something like that. So, all right. Let's see. Sky T trying to make a comeback. Oh, Tesla. We are waiting and watching and looking for the possibility of 280, and I will be buying 275 to 280 if it gets there. So that's that. Then we have
Getting there
Fubo
slowly
here.
but surely.
Then we have Fubo with earnings on Friday morning. Weaker than I thought it would be today with the market rebounding. But I think tomorrow will be a good day on Fubo. So I might actually add more to my Fubo this afternoon, even with NVIDIA and the market risk event and everything. Maybe what I'll do, maybe I'll wait for the NVIDIA and then add to my Fubo in after hours. Because I think with earnings Friday morning, you're going to see Fubo back towards 430 possibly tomorrow, right? We're at 385. That's a big percentage move that I think can happen on Fubo here within the next 24 hours or so, ahead as an event anticipation run, ahead of the earnings report as an event anticipation run. All right, then we have the Sinestech small, $4 million market cap. So be careful with that if you're interested. I took a position in this back on February 4th after I interviewed the CEO. So let's see what happens with that. They had some big news out this morning. You can take a look at yesterday morning. You can take a look at that if you're interested. Palantir hit me $85 target. Wow, look at that. Look, I gotta say, all of these charts, it's going to take a really bad report out of NVIDIA to derail bouncing off big support levels. So that's a huge, bouncing off huge support levels with oversold RSIs. Okay, it's going to be hard to overcome this to the downside unless the market really wants to bounce here. All right, unless NVIDIA is really bad. So let's just all pray and hope that NVIDIA is not really bad. But if it is, it doesn't matter because we'll be fine with our allocation sizes, and we always limit our drawdowns, and we will do just fine. But hopefully, we will do better if NVIDIA is fine. All right, and stocks fly. No one says no to that. All right. What else we got going on? Any questions in the chat?
No, not at the moment. Someone says Baba's more to go. BABA.
Yeah, I know. Baba, I just, there's certain stocks I don't trade. I just don't trade any Chinese stocks. And I get it. Sometimes I miss out. I missed out a lot here, right? 83
Steve sent out an alert to buy this thing at 139 earlier.
Steve got it in our community.
Yeah.
I'm good Godfather in our community. He does China stocks. He has no problem with them and has been very accurate predicting some moves in Baba and other Chinese stocks. So you can get that from him, not from me. I don't trade Chinese stocks, and I don't
trade Chinese stocks. Don't check out B Hat.
No, I don't.
Making some crazy moves again.
Is it? Is someone asking about it? I mean, I'm not going to have any.
No one's asking about it, but someone brought it up.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not interested. Okay. So, yeah, I don't trade Chinese stocks. I don't trade energy stocks. I don't trade banking stocks.
Take a look at app. Came out with a short.
I don't trade. Yeah, we'll look at app in a second. I don't trade banking, energy, shipping, or Chinese stocks. Okay. Now, or mining companies. What was it? App? Yeah.
APP.
Well, thankfully, I'm not in this. I missed it on the way up and I missed it on the way down. So, but yeah, I mean, I was there to say I didn't look at the short report, so I can't have any opinion fundamentally. Does that short report have credibility or not? We can only look at the technicals here. And look, I don't really trade on technicals. I mean, it's obvious. You got resistance here at that gap at 340. So that's your resistance for the day. And I have absolutely no opinion if it's going to break that resistance or not. If it does, obviously, then you get into this playground and a move possibly back towards 365. But I don't trade on technicals alone. Know what you own, know what you trade. It's story trading. We always start with the catalyst, and the catalyst here would be the short report, but you still got to know the company to be able to then interpret the impact of that catalyst on sentiment, which is obviously bad for a short report, but then also on fundamentals. You got to look at that too. And then only then do I look at technicals. I don't take any trade at all without understanding. It's all about understanding the market psychology at story trading. What is that story behind the trade? That the net opinion. I care about the net opinion of the investors out there, the net opinion of all the traders and investors and all the market participants. So how do I assess the net opinion of all the market participants? By considering catalyst, sentiment, fundamentals, and technicals, because that's who you have in the market. You have fundamental traders, technical traders, sentiment traders, and catalyst traders, right? So I think from their perspective, I understand what's going on. I look at social media and I get a good understanding of the stock. And then I come up with a thesis to basically front run the market psychology. That's what we do at story trading. I don't trade based on technicals alone, so I can't really tell you much about app because I don't know app fundamentally. So I'm not in a position to interpret that short report and to interpret what the street is thinking and the psychology of the street and what the street will do next. I'm not in a position to give those predictions. Our Katos is now in the green right now. So that is beautiful. Rhett, anything else on your mind?
No, there was just one comment. They want to know why you don't trade Chinese stocks.
Why? I mean, because there's so much geopolitical risk. And I mean, they just don't trade predictably. Look at BABA, for example. I mean, BABA has been like the most undervalued stock in the universe for like years. And like, so, I mean, how would you know?
CEO goes missing, Jack Ma, there's all sorts of stuff.
I mean, and it's also like you don't necessarily own shares in the company, structure or something like that. So which means that I think that's what it's called. I forgot. I looked into this years ago, and I don't know what it is, but there's risk there. You never know what the hell is going to happen. Like you don't actually own shares in BABA. Like China can say, no, sorry, I forgot what the name of the structure is that the Chinese companies use here. But in any case, why bother? You can make money with American companies that don't have geopolitical risk. There's no question whether you actually own shares in the company or you don't, which there is that question, with BABA. So in any case, that's why I don't own Chinese stocks. And also the smaller cap Chinese stocks, too much fraud, way too much fraud. It's just crazy. I don't want to deal with that.
VIE is what it is.
VIE. Yeah. Oh, man, it's been years since I read about that.
Variable interest entity.
Variable interest entity might be a good thing.
Amen, by the way. Sorry to drop in on you, but amen on the smaller Chinese stocks that are just loaded with fraud. I mean, I've traded a couple, we call them junk stocks. You're absolutely right about that. Absolutely right about that. So I see the run in a lot of these Chinese names too, and I think to myself, wow, what did I miss? But you know what? Sometimes I like to say sometimes your first stop is your best stop. Well, sometimes your first intuition is your best intuition.
Yeah, and also less is more. I mean, there's too many stocks out there, and if you exclude a whole bunch, it allows you to focus, and that's always a good thing, I think, in my mind.
Yeah, you remember Luckin Coffee, the Chinese stock that was going to Starbucks.
Oh yeah, big time fraud. It went to zero. Did it not?
Yeah, I believe they're publicly traded again now.
Okay, well, consider it lesson learned, I suppose.
Exactly.
All right, gents, really good stuff here today. I've been throwing up the QR code while you guys were on there, so you do get a sale on that Discord. You're welcome. Really good stuff here. We're gonna see you next week. Okay.
All right. That's great.
All right, that is Rhett and Ben from Story Trading. Awesome stuff. Those guys are on top of it. It's now time for Futures Fever. I'm going to send you over to Kevin. Have a great rest of your day. And boy, oh boy, the fireworks tonight. We're going to see what NVIDIA reports